Remix. 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 Remix.
What it do, nigga?
Morning.
How are you guys?
Good.
Doing okay.
Good.
What you doing?
Woohoo.
That noise. You all right?
What are you talking about?
In Laura
Oh.
house, something fell.
I didn't even know what you're talking about.
Some hit the mic. Yeah, nah. You know how when the mic hot, you can hear every move you make.
Insane. I don't know what that's like when mic is great cancellation.
You said what, Amber?
You heard me.
I didn't. What did you say?
I said my mic has good sound cancellation. You heard me.
Oh, your mic do?
Yeah.
I don't, but we're working on getting everybody on the remix.
Everybody ain't rich, you know what I mean? Getting flued out all over the world like Amber, so that's why
this
we can't.
mic costs $20.
Amber, I'm just saying, everybody can't afford a noise cancellation, like everybody ain't celebrity on it.
It's just a gamer microphone. That's it. It was $20.
Everybody ain't come to see us. They come to see Amber. Ain't nobody came to see us.
I mean, that's obvious. But yeah.
Nah, how y'all feeling? How y'all been?
The cheap mic.
I'm chilling.
I had a very interesting week. It's went up very up and down.
Tell us about it.
Yes, please.
We had a special election on Tuesday, which was cool. It's very interesting. I was wondering what the results gonna be. I was like, either the girl gonna lose really badly, or it's gonna be very, very close. And it was very, very close.
Your girl or the girl?
Oh, the girl. Well, I mean, she's my friend. I actually known her for a long time. Afton, who was running for Congress, she did pretty good actually.
So would you like? I think were you on the campaign team or you just kind of?
No, I wasn't. I was just doing like some voter engagement with Black voters for my job. So I was engaging a lot of Black voters to like get them to turn out since it's a special election. A lot of people don't vote in special elections, and yeah, it was very interesting because that district, like that has Nashville in it. Nashville split up into 3 congressional districts on purpose, like gerrymandering. So I think that they didn't think that they would perform as well as they did, but they did great. So now all the GOP people are scared, which is what they should be. I love that for them. And they're trying to like mask it and be like, it doesn't matter. He won. But he barely won.
So because we just jump right into that thing and start having conversations, welcome to the Remix Morning Show. Geechee, Amber, Lord, peace everybody in the chat. But Amber, I was going to ask
you, Geechee.
Huh?
Tell them what day it is. Get your Kim Brown on.
I'll bump that day. We don't do them bunker days. No, I really got a question now because especially somebody like you, policy organizer, whenever you do voting, what do you call it just now? Voting what?
Voter engagement?
Yeah, whenever you do voter engagement, are you only telling people get out to vote, or you're like having a conversation around policy and who to vote for?
No, I'm usually having a conversation around policy and how it relates to the type of seat. Because I think that because there isn't a lot of like voter education with voter engagement, people would just tell folks that they should get out and vote, but they're not inspired to do that just based off of that. So I think it makes more sense to explain to them, like, can this person do these things that they're talking about in this position? And the things that she was talking about wanting to do in Congress, she could do those things. Like she could help lower insurance costs. She can make sure that kids are being fed because our governor keeps denying the federal government money they want to give him for feeding kids over the summer. And she could also send money down for infrastructure to fix the roads. Like those are realistic things she could do. And I think that it's important to explain it to people because a lot of times folks will run for stuff and say they're going to do stuff that they cannot do. I think Zoran Mondani was a good example. He explained things that were realistic to the role of mayor where he is. Our mayor here talked about some stuff that he could do that I didn't think that he necessarily could do. So I think it's important to explain to folks, like, as mayor, as a congress member, as a state house member, these are the things that they have the authority to do, and don't let them overpromise you or underpromise you, because a lot of them have a lot of power, but they don't use it.
Yeah, I think that's dope. We in Charlotte we did this, and then when I was in Baltimore we started to do it a little bit. But we used to have this like city tree. You know how like the family tree has all the different people, but they were like all the issues, and these are all the faces responsible for it. And whenever they start talking about what they can or can't do, like you already know kind of what they did do. So that's dope. What about you, Lord? What you been into?
Man, I don't know. My brain's foggy or what. I'm like, what has my week been?
How was your trip?
Trip to where? How far back are we going? How long has it been?
3 weeks.
Cool. 3 weeks. This week has been cool. There was a hearing, and we could get into that since we're talking about local issues. But Miami-Dade College is trying to give away land currently valued at $70 million, but that if fully developed could be over $300 million of an asset to Donald Trump for free for his presidential library. So the board is pretty much bought and paid for. And so this vote was completely undemocratic. Also, pretty sure it's illegal, which is why there's a court case against it. So the hearing was
illegal for them to give them land.
It is illegal to give away public land for free because it used to be Miami-Dade Community College, now Miami-Dade College, and the asset is currently where the school has one of its last parking lots because downtown Miami is being rapidly developed, and so that is the biggest issue. Again, the legality is kind of the main way you can fight it because it's not democracy down here. They don't care about public comment. But the public comment was really interesting. So if you give me a sec, I can probably pull up the story and you can see a few more details. But that was that this week. That was our big action. And then we're studying as a collective, which is really nice. And Black Men Built Miami. So we've been doing a lot of great PE.
Because one thing about it, y'all gonna be studying some shit.
And you know that. So it's been a really good time handling that.
Not Dante putting you on blast.
And you gonna catch everything, ain't you?
I tried to get him to say it, but he didn't want to tell y'all. So I mean,
that's
we're talking.
But he already did.
I already knew what comment it was. That was on the screen. I was looking at I was looking for the video, but yeah.
Well, while he looks for the video, I do have some tea.
Amber's messy Jesse.
More tea than that. Yes. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
she mixing the tea all up, mama. This limited tea. Shut up.
Because it was insane, and I had to tell the story. So on election day, actually, while I was laying down for 30 minutes because I had a raging migraine because it was election day, and I was phone banking and text banking and waving signs in 20-degree weather, I was just laying there minding my black business with me and my friend Alex and my dog at our Airbnb. And somebody called me, and I pick up, of course, because I'm nosy. And it was that guy I told y'all about who was going to get evicted because he didn't pay his rent. Remember, it was like months ago. The one I tried to help get his rent paid. And
yes, I do remember this check-in.
So he was calling to tell me that he got a job. And I was like, okay, cool. That's what's up. He was explaining the job stuff to me. And then he started going off like, you never tickle me anymore. You never talk to me anymore. I was like, yeah. He's like, you talking about these damn boundaries and da-da-da-da. It wasn't that serious. I was like, it was that serious to me. But then I started laughing because he was yelling. It was funny. He was like, you're not even taking this serious. I was like, no, my head is hurting. I'm a little high. He said, you always on them damn edibles. I was like, I didn't take an edible.
Wow.
He was like, who got you smoking? Who you been fucking that got you smoking? What is going on? And I was like, whoa. And at the same time, my friend Alex is in the room. And she's a girl. My friend Alex and my dog are laying on this other bed, just listening, cracking up. She starts crying, laughing. My dog is seeing me laugh and her laugh. So he starts getting excited. He punches her in the face. My mistake. It was a mistake. But it was so dramatic. I was like, what is happening? And this whole time this is happening, he's still yelling. And then he ends up dropping his phone in water and the phone hangs up.
Well, he deserved that. So
Yeah. I said, I don't know what impact I be having on men. Well, I do. But I mean, he was really going through something. And it was so funny, but also insane. That was the most insane conversation I've ever had. And I just needed y'all to hear the insaneness and the backlash of my dog slapping her in the face. My mistake. But
Yo,
because he was like, she was like laughing. I'm laughing. I like get up and start laughing. So he gets up and he's like, my dog is like jumping up and down because he's like geeked up off of us laughing. It was so funny.
Oh,
It was so funny.
I did not
And
know
then
what
he
was
don't
going
even
on
know
over
he did
there.
nothing wrong.
She took us through there.
He took me through there.
He started.
I was like, what? He said, I know you was out here fucking somebody.
Yeah.
Man, we used to have something good. I just don't understand why you don't want to talk to me no more. I said, I told you, I don't deal with people yelling at me.
Brothers, are we okay? Are we okay, brothers? Can we handle rejection?
The brothers are not okay. The impact that I have on people is strong and he misses it. And the best thing I can do to somebody is remove myself. That'll always eat away at them. And it's eating away at them right now in real time.
But you ain't do it to punish him. You do it to take care of yourself, though, right?
Yeah, it's just a boundary that I have. I mean, I don't think that I don't believe in doing things to punish people because I feel like that means you have to think about them way too much to make sure you're continuing this type of punishment thing you're doing. I just stopped talking to them. I told people that I don't deal with people yelling at me. You're not finna go the fuck off on me when I'm trying to help you, especially. But also, you're just not finna go off on me and yell at me like that. Like, I don't deal with people who can't control themselves. Like, that's just not my tea. So I just stopped talking to him.
Absolutely.
And he was like, we used to talk every day. You used to call me every day. I actually didn't call him. He called me at the same time every day. But I didn't say that on the call because he was already going up and down.
You should have said, well, you should have said, well, I was hoping not today when he said we should talk every day.
You're trying to be hurt.
Geechee's a pastor. I just hope y'all know that.
I'll just say, like, I was hoping not today, nigga. Shit. But yeah. But I know we was going over there. We do want to give a shout out to I know Lord was just talking about the work that he do down there in the Miami, and then some folks, as a person who was born and raised in Dade County.
Okay.
Sound like what that boy name is, the security guard. Him too. My bad.
Oh,
appreciate Rick Ross.
Officer Ricky. Correction.
Officer. Yeah, appreciate the work you're doing, Lord. Miami, my whole life has always felt so depoliticized and kind of revolutionary. Listen, I think it was the first time I heard it was actually I don't even know if the Rupa said it, but Miami is a place where all the losers of the revolution go and move. That's why it seems so kind of revolutionary because all the damn losers came there.
Everybody,
not the losers.
The losers from Venezuela.
Steven said Geechee's a bomb thrower, and I agree. I feel like Geechee is that person in the friend group that, like, as they're going through how they gonna handle something, he gonna do like the little last dig and be like, "Yeah," and then say this. That's Geechee.
Geechee gives the 13th reason. You taught me that a few weeks ago.
I almost hit my 13th reason a few months ago, and it was over something small, and that's how I know I be quick. I really be trying not to be quick to go off. I was really holding back, but goddamn.
Well, honestly, I want to accept that thanks. We have all the organizers who we work with down here because definitely a team effort. And I hear you.
Got a lot of staff there too, right?
No, I mean it's mostly volunteers, which is why we're trying to recruit people constantly, build membership. That's why I'm always on here telling people to come through if they do anything in Miami, because we need members. Of course, we use this platform for what it's used for, Now, I had the video. I'm going to share it real quick of the situation I'm talking about. Definitely one day, I already sent Renee down the rabbit hole on this. So don't worry. We'll definitely get a thorough review soon. But this is an overview of the story for folks interested. Here we go.
Funny place. shady politicians. I'm standing here at the future site of Donald Trump's presidential library. For the moment, this land is owned by Miami-Dade College. It's meant to serve our students and our community. Instead, it's serving the president's ego. Because a few weeks ago, with no notice, the College Board voted to give Donald Trump this land for free. This, one of the most valuable pieces of land in all of Miami, is given away quietly. No discussion, no student input, nada. And right after that, Florida Attorney General James Othmeyer, the same guy behind the prison camp named Alligator Alcatraz, magically got an endorsement from President Donald Trump. Coincidence? Corruption? You decide. Now, tú sabes, this is the most epic land scam since the Marlins Stadium. Nearly $70 million worth of public land that the college paid $25 million for back in 2004, gone for free. That deal was so shady that it violated our sunshine laws. That's why I'm standing with Dr. Marvin Dunn, who is suing the board to make sure the community gets to have its say. If Donald Trump wants to build a library here in Florida, he can build it at Mar-a-Lago, not here. Not next to the Freedom Tower that has been a beacon of hope to so many of our immigrants here in Miami. This land belongs to the students of Miami-Dade College and to us, the people of Miami, not to him. So if you're with us and you're not going to let him take it, join us.
So, I do not support that person, by the way. That is not an endorsement. That is just information. I don't know who that is. We're going to have to do some research.
Man, I don't know who that nigga is.
But I will say, yeah, that's one of the cases that's going on right now. And we'll talk about that beacon of hope, the Freedom Tower, in another day. But that's what I mean. It gets deep. There's a lot to go into, but absolutely what y'all said, what Deruba said, this right here, the worst of the worst come to Miami. All the colonizers, an all-star team. We got conquistadors, we got Confederates, we got CIA asset Cubans, we got Zionists. It's everybody, the worst of the worst. What is the county? Yeah, Leah, you asking questions. Come on. Don't ask those kind of questions. Oh, give away the land. So like I was saying, it's actually worth, because of Miami's ridiculous policies where you can just build as high as you want. The only thing that really would stop the height of the building is a plane, essentially. So that's why I'm saying right now the land undeveloped. It's straight across the street from where the Heat play, the Casilla Center. It's right next to the Freedom Tower, which is a monument. It's been there since the 20s. Bayside Park. All of these things. And what's super interesting is if you go right over one block, right, there's actually another parking lot. And so it's interesting that he's not grabbing that. It's on what's Dwayne Wade Boulevard now, but it's private. I'm sure someone else has grabbed that land. So they just went straight from the college itself and got it for free. You don't get anything for it, but Donald Trump gets what he wants. And as this person pointed out at the start of the video, which is pretty clever, it's a casino with a library attached, because you know how Trump builds things. So it's not going to be a presidential library. It's going to be a skyscraper, a hotel.
Because you niggas don't read, beloved.
It is. Yes. So I went to the hearing. I can give more details, but they tried to give it away to some shell that's essentially Donald.
Do y'all get to make comments at the hearing, or y'all was just listening?
We did. Eric Trump, his wife and his lawyer are essentially the subsidiary that's going to try and get this land. So whatever they call themselves, those are the only three people on the deed so far. And yes, there was public comment. It was absolutely insane public comment by pretty much all the compradors. So we have an all-star team of colonizers and we have an all-star team of Uncle Toms in South Florida. So pretty much every island they could find at the moment was there. So we had a Dominican woman, Chocolate Sister too, just come up there and Trump, this is what we want. This is the best. ICE isn't a problem. She tried to give her business card out to one of the women who gave comment and said that her uncle had been taken by ICE. And she was like, that's not true. Take my business card. I can help you. Even that got her kicked out. It was a mess. True.
Wait, who is she?
Sitcom. So they had a Dominican woman say how she loved Trump. They had a Puerto Rican woman say how she loved Trump. Each of them were planted, this is how I feel, to say they love Trump, they support the library, it's going to be great for the kids, they're really from Miami. and that's what they want.
How
So,
is it going to be great for the kids? It's not what presidential libraries are for. But
man, this is the thing. The public comment truly doesn't matter. They had already voted beforehand, and then when everyone made us think about it, that was what made them have to come back and then have public comment. Like I said, a lot of the public comment was plants from people. So Dominican, who supported, obviously Cuban, the lawyer who's protecting against Dr. Dunn's case, started his testimony with, as the son of Cuban exiles. Now, again, you'll be like, what's this got to do with this case at all? But that's, how they start. He sounds like a Trump bot. He says it's lawfare and it's unjust persecution of this amazing president. The conservative Puerto Rican woman said, the racist shit. Y'all wouldn't have said this if it were Obama. Y'all weren't protesting the Obama Center in Chicago. And I'm like, ma'am, actually, my little sister was protesting the Obama Center in Chicago. But that anti-Venezuelan folks, because right now they're really, really, really trying to manufacture consent for that invasion. And obviously Marco Rubio is Florida's own narco terrorist. His brother is actually a narco trafficker. This is confirmed if you look up any of this on Google. So it's wild, y'all. But the main two things I would say are that it violates sunshine laws. So you can't just give away this property for free. That's, I think, one of the strongest points. Like, if they already voted on it, you can hear all the public comments, but they don't mean anything because you already know they're going to go behind. They're bought and paid for, and they unanimously voted after the hearing for the same thing, to give the land away. So I think the main way to contest it is that it violates the sunshine statutes. That's a violation of law. And the other important thing is that the college is still not even a community college anymore, a full college, which means it has a board of trustees who have a fiduciary duty. So if you think like a capitalist, disgusting way of thinking, but why would you as a billionaire invest in the college if the board of trustees are just going to give away a massively a valuable public asset for free? Like, if you're a billionaire, are you going to invest in college? And they're going to be like, nah, this is worth $300 million, but someone else can have it. Right?
Look,
I agree with you, Masha. I think that public comment is to make the procedure look democratic, but this is also why I think it's important to use public comment strategically. Like, how can you use public comment to disrupt what they're doing? Not in this situation, because I think it'll be harder, but like, I have always organized folks through public comment strategically in a way that like they can't actually ignore what we were saying, because we're like playing clips from them in the meeting earlier or quoting direct things that they said. Then they feel called out and then they start to like respond or ask questions. It wasn't until we got this new city council that we have now that they would even ask people questions when they were doing public comment, because I was lining them public comments up with statements and shit. I was like, hey, and put this quote in there too, real quick. He said this morning in the committee. And then they start feeling convicted. So they start responding. So I do think that public comment can be strategic in a way for certain situations. I think it's hard for stuff like this, but I think for like government, like state house or like city council, aldermen, stuff like that, it can be used in a way to like, one, embarrass the fuck out of them, and two, call them to the carpet and they feel like they have to say something in the moment, because now because of COVID, all these meetings are live streamed. And so they try not to do too fucking much because they know they being live streamed. And so they'll say, oh, let me ask a question about what you're talking about, or let me respond. And they'll say, like, for the viewing audience, I just want to say, like, they know that people are watching them and that this is recorded and that we're going to blast this clip. So they be trying to clean it up. And it's always so much fun to watch.
So go ahead, Geechee.
So yeah, I'm sorry. I'm probably got to go on a string because Lorik said a lot that I needed to respond to. And then Amber perfectly told you niggas that if you organize, you can strategically use anything. But if you just go up there and try to do some camera tricks, then you ain't doing shit. So Stacey not Patton, damn, I keep saying Stacey Patton. Shout out to Stacey Patton too, Baltimore. Yeah. But Stacey Sutton, when she came to town, me and her went out after she spoke at this joint, and we were sitting in some like a hood type bar that you probably wouldn't go to if you up there somewhere. But this one sister was kind of like twerking over there, and everybody was like yeah hyping her up, and like she looked like the life of the party. She was a bartender, and then she like ran over to me and Stacey. She's like, "What do y'all do? Y'all look serious." And then and then after she said that, she was like, I hate it here. And I was like she was talking about like being around them, this, and she was talking about, and I saw her like take off her mask and then put the mask back on and went over there. I was like, but I'm saying that to say, and I'm coming back to you, Lord. My homeboy last night sent me a video, and I never thought I would see this in this space, but not Killer Mike. Damn, I'm saying all right. Mike Epps and Jim Jones interview, right? And again, this mask thing. Mike Epps was saying some shit that sound like Mike Epps actually way more radical and Reed and Claire than he really is. But then he stopped when Jim Jones got uncomfortable and started making a joke again. And then he did it again. The whole interview, he kept doing that. And he kept saying some stuff. And like, I was like, but then again, now I'm going to, your video.
Mm-hmm.
Donald Trump's son did the same shit in LA, and they doing it all over the country and in Charleston, right? They bought the hospital I was born in, right next to the projects that I ended up staying at in North Charleston, George Legree, the Naval Hospital. Donald Trump them bought that shit too, right? And so I started thinking about like these niggas is really playing the game Monopoly, right? And and we got the board game too, but they didn't tell us we was under the fucking board. We wasn't real, and so we really believe in the game too. So and that kind of take me back to the conversation I had with the seniors the other day. Like I think I said it on the other show. I asked all of them what they was doing in 1955, and one of the dudes who was like 97. I'm sorry, 87. He said I was in the streets, right? And then the other person, lady, she's like, I was in third grade. And then the other one said, you was in third grade, girl, I was in middle school. And they were all talking about where they at. And then I only asked them that to introduce them. I was like, well, E. Franklin Frazier wrote a book in 1955 called Black Bourgeoisie. And in the chapter, it's like, it's called The World of Make-Believe. Black people are living in the world of make-believe. And I said, the capital of that world is Atlanta. And like, we just talk about stuff like that. And then I was like, wait, back to the Monopoly thing. It came out in 35. So by the time E. Franklin Frazier wrote about it, they already been propagandized for at least 30 or 20 years, right? And so he could do a research of like these people. And again, Lord, this is gonna go back to when we get to the surveillance conversation too. But yeah, I was just kind of thinking about that, how the way in which we are engaged in society, like we're like strategically programmed to like have response, and then even taught to defend things that don't even benefit us. So it's like, and I think sometimes we, I guess, don't think about that, but I'm sure y'all do because y'all some thinkers.
Well, to put a pin in that, so we'll definitely revisit the story because it's too many details to get in one sitting.
Now we're thinkers.
But I will say to your point about the making people believe these things, like a lot of the testimony was about this is next to the Freedom Tower. The Freedom Tower is this tower that represents Miami's Ellis Island or some nonsense. But speaking of a world of make-believe, that is an absolute lie. And if you know the history of downtown Miami, you can counter that history. Amber, I'm going to check back with my team and see if we can post the video of the statement our lead organizer gave. But you're absolutely right. It can be organized that way, but it also is what we always talk about. You have to get into your community and talk to people and make sure that they can get there, because the college tried to do this under the radar, and then they immediately make the hearing like the next day, and it's at a campus that's not in a Black neighborhood. It's in a non-Black part of Miami. It's at 10 a.m. And I can tell you for a fact, I was the youngest person in that hearing. The employees themselves didn't know about it, so much so I went up to the information desk and said, hey, I'm here for the meeting about the land in the library. And the information desk person was like, let me see about that. And then when she went, I was like, oh, it's in this room. She's like, oh, it's right there. It was literally 10 feet away. So that's how she only saw was a bunch of police outside and a bunch of cameras, really didn't know what was going on. That's
God.
Just so 100% public comment can be done that way, but it was mostly retirees, Trump plants, and a lot of liberals, because it was a lot of, oh, this is the city of immigrants. So a big narrative Miami's telling, and I'll close it here because I do want to revisit this more detailed, is that 70% of our population is immigrants. That's what they are telling themselves. They basically are starting Miami's history in the 70s with the Cuban migration as a result of the revolution and the CIA bringing them over here. So they really are trying to tell this nation of immigrants narrative to say that, oh, well, we're the ones who make this city so great because we just came here. Don't worry, Black people didn't build this shit beforehand. It just was already here. Miami was already built, and then we got here as immigrants, and then we made it great, and you can't complain about that because it's the American dream. So that is the narrative they're currently telling about Miami. We got to fight that.
Yeah, I think that's so interesting. I was also going to say about the comment thing. We did like a strategic digital action this week. That was really fun, actually. But I organized people around the cite and release policy that we have, like for our state law and for like the Memphis police officers. And so people were like calling the mayor's office, sending all these emails, like this whole thing. And his secretary or chief of staff sent back this like copy paste thing she sent to everybody. But basically they just put all the blame on the county and was like, this isn't something that he has authority to do. You should call the county mayor and the county commission. And I said, I think that it tells a lot about your morals and values that you ignored everything that we said about his authority that we clearly cited in these emails and in these calls and moved to blame someone else, which is another example of people don't be reading what the fuck you be writing. Because I know for sure that she ran them emails through ChatGPT because she be doing shit like that. But she just was looking for a way to put it on somebody else, even though our emails were about the mayor enforcing his authority for cite and release. So then she had to eat that up real quick because I was on her ass. And so then she called me and she was trying to like, butter me up. I was like, that ain't gonna work on me. And then she was like, well, I do want you to know that, I didn't write this alone. The mayor wrote it with me. I said, that's even worse. That means both of y'all didn't read. That means both of y'all put the blame on somebody else. And then she was like, well, do you have any examples? I said, yeah. And I sent her like 500 case numbers and said, fix this shit. And now they trying to fix it.
Good.
Fix it. It's broke. So fix it.
I also submitted my $5 million budget this morning that the city asked me to write for Opportunity Youth. That I'm very excited about.
What the youth getting? What we getting? What we getting out of this?
So it's $2 million for Opportunity Youth Workforce Program that we started last year. Actually, last year they only got $800,000, so I funded it at $2 million, and it's just an expansion of what they're currently doing. So like youth can go into really whatever career field they want to, and then we find a mentor that mentors them for 6 months. We offer them like rental assistance, transportation assistance, and then we partner with a car lot that has cars for $2,500. And so if they're like in a certain tier where they don't have transportation at all, we'll buy them a car. But there wasn't enough money like the first round to get multiple people cars. We only get like 10. So I put more money in there to fund that. I put $2 million for youth mental health, which is an initiative we had last year as well. And we were doing youth mental health as in like taking youth to therapy, but also doing group intervention therapy at 2 high schools. And then also providing them with transportation support. So like we either go pick them up or send them like a Lyft card or a gas card. And the last thing was funding a neighborhood rapid response program in communities through the Office of Neighborhood Safety. And instead of the police department having money for like their youth programs where they like do Girl Scouts and like summer camps, cut that line item completely and then move that under the Office of Neighborhood Safety, and they can do that programming, but also training neighborhoods to respond so that they don't call the police. A lot of people were saying like they would actually rather respond to their neighbors, but they don't have like the training to do so. And so our official Bill in Memphis chapter would train them on like how we do crisis response so they can respond to their community.
Shout out to Amber. That's good work. That's good work.
That's
beautiful work.
And I was worried because I was on that nigga ass on Monday with these phone calls. And I said, I'm sending that budget in on Wednesday. So, I don't know what to tell you.
Whenever I know all of it is like essentially engaged in the economy, but whenever you two things, like are you connected with, I know you did with Denzel and them, but in the whole city, or is just Nashville with like some of the Black solidarity economy folks? Are you connected with them. And then, so whenever you are engaging with that, do you, some of them people you consult when it's time to like do, I guess all of it is the budget, but when you do stuff like the cars or the job or entrepreneur, like are you working with those folks?
Well, they're in Nashville, so it's not close to Memphis. But I have looked at like some of the solidarity economy practices for like some of the things that I wanted to do. Like a part of how I got the idea around the mentors and stuff is that like people were going through these workforce programs, but there aren't enough jobs here. And so if they didn't get a job in the thing that they wanted, they literally just went back to whatever they did. And a lot of them actually either went to jail or got killed because they don't have a job. They have nothing that they're doing. And so that's why I thought of like the mentor part of like there are community members who will mentor you in this field until you get to where you want to be. That way they're doing something. And that was a way for me to like involve the community in like actually interacting with opportunity youth, because we have Memphis has the largest population of opportunity youth than any other metropolitan city. So like that's the whole reason why the mayor called me and he was like, I want you to write an opportunity budget. The reason was because we have so many opportunity youth. But a lot of the ideas I also had around the budget were from like some of the stuff that Black Nashville Assembly did with their budget, because we were the only two cities that got any budget last year. And so some of the stuff that they asked for in that Office of Gun Safety is kind of what I'm pushing for in the Office of Neighborhood Safety. Ours is a little different because it's with the county and the city together, like it's a joint thing, but they don't have any money beyond the 2 salaries. So there's 2 employees in that office, they have 2 salaries, and that's it. So they aren't able to do any of the programming ideas they have, but they want to do them, which is why I put the funding in there for funding those things and also slashing those other line items that people aren't using. Because if you give this money to the Office of Neighborhood Safety, they can reach way more people than the police department is reaching by doing a summer camp with 20 kids. Like that ain't shit. Or a Girl Scout troop with 7 kids. Like you spending all this money on just 7 people?
Yeah. That was the part I was most excited about, Amber, when you were describing that, because, oh man, it's such a small and like simple demand, but it's huge. Like its impact is huge when people get to democratically control these programs, because then if those programs ever get threatened or taken away, you immediately have a base of people who are willing to get active. But if it's just for a 7-person camping trip that nobody uses, it's a missed opportunity. So,
which is my idea behind like the building the neighborhood rapid response, is that people do want to do stuff like that. And if you build in these type of youth programs and them doing crisis response, it's way more sustainable and it builds up people in their community to like actually talk to their neighbors, because most of them aren't even talking to their neighbors or like don't even know what to do in a crisis, because people just tell them to call the police. And they're like, I actually don't want to do that. Most people I talk to were like, actually, I don't want to call the police. So what is my other option? So like, let's talk about what your other options are. Let's train you on those other options. So I'm excited about it. I think it'll get cut down just a little bit, which is why I made it so high. But I feel like if the police department getting 38 million, shit, they can give us 5.
That, I mean, they could give us 30, but yeah.
39?
Yeah, however much they got.
Well, there are still other like more budget asks. So this is just for opportunity youth. There's a whole more budget coalition still that's going to be pushing for other things. So they're still like, I think there was like close to 19 million right now for their ask. So they're still going to be making those asks. But I want to make sure that like the youth are getting a larger chunk of the budget than they have been, because they haven't been getting it. And it like shows like even just basic stuff they be wanting to do. They're like, we don't have a budget for that. Why don't you?
Yeah.
But also just wanted to say that although I was a little bit nervous because I was going off on a nigga on Monday, this is proof that you can hold elected officials accountable and still work with them on things that you need to accomplish. I still sent that budget in, even though I was definitely on his ass on Monday and Tuesday. Actually, we did a 2-day digital action. We did live streams. I was going live with different influencers every 3 hours, calling them out. People was calling them in real time. And I still sent that budget in. He still said, all right, I got you. Let's meet about this. Like, so you can do it. For anybody who's like, oh, I'm not sure how I do that, I gotta be nice to them. You don't. And you should always still continue to see elected officials as targets. I needed something from him. That's what I was doing on Monday. And I still need this budget. And that's why I sent it.
We got to get these Amber clips in these days.
Yeah, bro. Listen, man, like Amber teaching you niggas how to organize and stop acting like y'all so radical. Y'all don't know how the world build. So,
oh man,
these budgets is coming up. You should be organizing around budgets right now. The mayor's going to present his budget in 100 days.
Mm-hmm.
That's barely 2 months.
Yeah. I saw this one comment too. Sorry, I'm jumping back. Someone brought up some history that's real relevant. Liberty City was outside of Miami. So it's a yes and no. Miami-Dade County has a bunch of municipalities, over 30 municipalities. So Liberty City is one of those, or Brownsville. And it is actually a historically Black neighborhood, one of the Blackest neighborhoods in Miami and in the South, which a lot of people don't think about. And it's where my dad is from. So that's where the Freedom Lab is located. So currently we organize there. It's a huge part of Miami history. And what is it that Blacks were doing in the area until the freeways cut the city in half is an important question to ask. That's a common discussion about I-95 went through Overtown and destroyed the Black community. You know, it's Overtown is the name that it got rebranded to, but originally called Colored Town. It's places like where my grandma used to live coming up. So I wanted to highlight just some things I've done in the past to teach in on that city and its history. So 2 things I would highly recommend is this, The Origin of Miami's Liberty City by Raymond Mole, a historian. There were major riots, you know, the same way we know about
He
Watts.
was over there finding resources and everything. So
Things like that. Yeah, because I've taught on this history before, and it was one of the first housing projects in American history. So that's why it's also extremely important. And part of the reason why was FDR came down to Miami because we were talking about the Freedom Tower, which is right downtown by Colored Town, where they put us, they segregated us. So when they needed their labor force, they can go grab us and have us work for the crackers downtown and then kick us out at sundown. So that's how it was. If you go to Freedom Tower, they love to tell this rosy story about how Black and white workers were working together, but it was under very segregated Jim Crow conditions. So much so that 1925, the Freedom Tower gets created and has its, or finished and has its Miami News running out of there. 1926, a hurricane comes and destroys downtown Miami. And just like we back in slavery, the whites come and grab us out of Colored Town and make us rebuild the city. Man, women, child, anyone they could grab had to go down there and do it for free. A piece that's often left out. So FDR comes down to Miami, comes down to Overtown, Colored Town, sees how we're living, sees the row houses, sees the mosquitoes, the disease, the poverty, and is like, damn, y'all niggas living like this? So it creates the first housing project, which is Liberty Square, which then becomes Liberty City. Of course, when Colored Town gets destroyed by I-95, a lot of people get pushed into Liberty City, which then creates overcrowding, a struggle for resources as the city keeps disinvesting from it. So we know that story. But this article is really great, super short. If you just want that history, not too long, great sources. And then this documentary I worked with the community on is another thing I would recommend. And if we have a minute, I'll just play the trailer on it. And shout out, yes, that is like my grandfather, the Black Bahamians who built Miami. There was also some Haitians here earlier, even some Cubans in the early generation, of course, Black Cubans. But they don't like to talk about that. They like to talk about the anti-Castro ones who came over decades later. So this documentary we worked on to describe the situation. When anyone asks me what's going on in Miami, like what is the primary contradiction that Miami is dealing with right now, this is the thing I'd show them. It shows them how real estate capital, the state, and then climate collapse are coming together in a whirlwind, really. So just wanted to show this, and we can talk about it another time, maybe even have some people who put it together come on, though their politics might not be as radical as we would like, but just
they practice what that practice like, though. That's what we care about. Fuck the politics at this point.
Yeah. Let me see how far along. I don't want it to take up too much time if y'all are looking, but I think it's a shorter trailer.
You good? I do think this is interesting because the same thing happened in Memphis around like them building interstates through Black towns, and the only reason, Black areas, the only reason why they didn't build the interstate straight through a Black community in Memphis is because the Sierra Club sued them because it was right by a park, and they wanted to like send the interstate through this Black community and through Overton Park. And you know, white people love the environment, And that's the only reason why they didn't do this. And people don't hear about a lot of those cases too because they're administrative law cases. And I studied a lot of administrative law cases in undergrad because I care about like the interesting shit. And that's where the messy cases happen, by the way. But this same thing that you're talking about is an administrative law case too that I had read about. And the only reason why it worked in Memphis is because the white folks were suing. If it was black people, they would have lost that shit.
It's exactly what's happening with Alligator Alcatraz, by the way. The thing that actually puts the court when it did get temporarily shut down, because people need to know it's back up, was that it's an environmental thing. You're dealing with the Everglades and you're messing with that. So of course they don't care about the brown kids, but they care about the Florida Panther, allegedly. You know,
of course.
So that's the kind of sickness we're dealing with, even though it's on Miccosukee territory, and the Miccosukee are the ones who take care of that environment in the first place. I saw a brother ask about the book recommendation. I will leave the article in our run sheet, and links and sources are in the show description. So if you just click on the run sheet doc, you'll have access to all that we cover here. All right, y'all gonna stick with me?
Will Amber write a book about messy cases? I actually should do a short series about it.
All of us, yes. So the Overtown thing is just important, and I think this story is important for what you're saying, Amber. Like, these affect all of our neighborhoods. I really appreciate Glenn Ford. I know it's 20 years since Katrina this year, but really highlighting how Katrina was a watershed moment for Black America, and this kind of struggles we're going to be dealing with in the 21st century around climate change and gentrification and corporations just taking over our city. So here's the trailer. Raising Liberty Square. Highly recommend y'all check it out if you want to know what Miami's dealing with right now, specifically the Black community in Miami.
Everything around me is changing. I'm a single mother of 7. I have a difficult decision to make, whether I will stay or whether I will go.
Liberty Square is the heart. And when you destroy the heart, you destroy the people. So where's the people going to go?
When they came to build Miami, they wanted it to be this beachfront paradise. So what they did was push the people of color, Black folks, to the middle of the city, which sits on a ridge.
This is our community. Why are you planning it for us? Why are you saying what it's going to be? Why? Why are there no people that look like me?
This is the next step in the process.
Somehow or another, Mr. Milo, the plans change.
How do I get a place to live?
How? What are you going to? You think you're going to be able to call Milo and ask him for an apartment? Hey, come on, you. Make us proud.
I put on a good front for my staff, and I put on a good front for my children, but it does bother me. I have to go to sleep at night. And I'm wondering, like, what would happen to us if we do lose the place?
I'm not disconnected from these kids. I used to be one of these kids. Why you love the kids? Why you do that? Because when I grew up, no one told me they loved me. I'm in war stage, willing to fight for these children and my community.
We're starting to see developers who have historically only did business on the beach or in affluent communities are now coming in and fighting over housing projects that sit smack dab in the middle of our city.
I'm a firm believer of mixed income development and breaking up concentrated poverty. And I'm not saying this because I work for the firm. I am impressed with our plan. I've heard everything from, Aaron, you're just here to take a check every 2 weeks, or
you know, you're a house nigga, something like that.
What color you want your room to be? I need to know so I can start getting stuff.
We can't even get a meeting with the people that made all these promises. That's why I'm asking you, how you know they're gonna keep their word?
It's in the contract.
Miami is ground zero for sea level rise. We are the example of climate gentrification. When I was a child, my grandfather always would say, they're going to come take Liberty City because we don't flood.
So again, I think this is why, you know, even when you said they might not have the politics, so it's still back to like the monopoly reference. Like we really think we understand that there's a whole fucking game going on, and we like moving pieces, we touching the pieces, and we like, oh, but we really like, again, even the most radical people like still kind of like moving the pieces and not really knowing what the fuck is going on and not even thinking about. So even for a granddaddy, it don't matter how politicized his granddaddy is, he know enough to be like, oh, we don't flood, they coming to get us, they're coming to get this shit, right? Yeah, like that. And then when you before you hit play, I was just looking at the wherever buildings and grass and that, and it just feels like it was in Charleston. Like, and then I know somebody said that happened in New Orleans, and so all of us, probably even in Memphis, all of us had a particular experience where we know like that grass and the little thing and the little house, like everybody kind of feel that. And then in terms of Aaron, that was Aaron. Who you know that dude?
Yeah,
that nigga did crazy. Yeah. But listen, his body language showed that he's
yes.
Tell him, and it's like, what the fuck is you talking about, Aaron? Like that nigga is crazy as hell. Bring him on.
So I had the honor of facilitating a panel with quite a few of the people you saw on screen. So the sister who teaches, she has the Mega Learning Center, an elder in the community says, Mr. Milo ain't about to, move you back in, because she was absolutely correct. I think it's Miss Anna. I got to speak to a lot of them. Aaron was actually supposed to be on the panel. He, I think the ancestors were shaming him and he did not show up. So he didn't want to get laid out. I would have been nice to him. My questions were going to be real solid, but expose the contradictions, but he didn't show up. And another thing I wanted, since you said it looks like Charleston, this came up throughout the film. I don't know if y'all have had this situation, but in Miami in particular, in Liberty Square, there was a big gardening culture, obviously. Like, we're talking about Miami in the 30s and 40s. So the houses having squash and mango, and a big thing you'll hear about down here is citrus trees. How we had so many citrus trees in our neighborhood, and the government, calling it blight or for whatever reason, came through, took all the citrus trees. It's a very common thing. Like you said, Geechee, like, oh, people, without even the deepest political education, just know from their experience what's going on. Talk to anybody, they'll be like, yeah, we used to have the citrus trees and now they're all gone. So even though, compared to some areas of Miami, downtown, luxury areas, by the way, that project still has more open green space. Like, I go there and I'm like, this still is like more fun in terms of if I were a kid and wanted to play outside than some of these areas downtown by the beach in the first place. But it's gone now. So a lot of the old food is gone. And so then we have farm share, of course, with police on horses that mount around like slave catchers and literally shit on the land. That's what happened the last time I was out there. big ass police horse shat in front of us where we were giving out the food. Now, you can't grow. Of course, you need us to come and do farm share and this liberal nonprofit to give out the food because you got rid of the community's capacity to grow the food in the first place.
Yeah. Also, one more thing.
No, keep going. Don't cut it down.
I sure will, but I'm gonna get you one. There's this thing called 7-Up series that I watched when I was in college. That my we only watched it in class a little bit, and I told the professor, I was like, "No, I'm taking this whole thing," and I took the whole thing and watched it. But there was these, I don't know how many kids, tons of them, that this man was doing a documentary. He was filming them every 7 years, so he'll interview them at 7, and then 14, and then all the way up, and I think all the way up to 72, right? The 7-Up series, and so again from 7 on, and it will show like different layers of kids. So like not layers of kids, but kids in the city, kids in like rural areas, kids in like country. And it just kind of reminded me, like, even as you're explaining that, like I had like 3 experiences in Charleston. Like I was in like Charleston a little bit. I was in Moncks Corner a lot. And then my family from Alvin, where it's like farm, ain't nothing there, right? But that experience, the experience might look different. Like I guess the concrete jungles and the mixture in between it, but it's like the experience of the experiences and the awareness of what's happening to you. Like for instance, my granddaddy and his I don't know if he was twin, his brother, both of them had 25 acres of land, however they got it. And one day, my granddad, Uncle Hummy, he sells his and my granddaddy land. And whatever he did, I don't know. And my aunts, my aunts, the daughter of my great granddaddy, my grandmother being one of them, they had to like struggle to get the land back. And then now it doesn't become heirs property and stuff like that. But like
not the Queen Sugar plot.
Look, it's so many things. Like it don't matter which one of those scenes you in, my nigga. Like you black, and there's a whole goddamn thing to try to get your.
They stole your story, friend.
They sure did. You should have sold that script.
Right. Y'all, I just watched Queen Sugar for the first time last year. I binge watched it last year. So when everybody was talking about it, luckily no one ever said what the show was about when they were talking about it online. So I never knew. So I just watched it randomly one time. That shit is insane. I was like, bullying is hard.
I wasn't even gonna respond to that dumb shit.
No. I want to just watch the documentary. We get into that, and you can see the demands. I think what's really interesting about the documentary is just so many contradictions laid out on top of each other. The Aaron case is super interesting. When we talk about what a comprador is, or how he even calls himself a house nigga, it's a role. So I'm not like. Again, the person themselves can be kind or they can be an asshole. They can be a great dad. They can be a deadbeat. All of these personal characteristics are, they tell a story. But the main thing is the role. This dude is playing a role. So if you see the documentary, he's actually from the neighborhood. You'll see he's actually wearing Roots Collective, which is tied to B&B, which means he's come to events that we've done in the community before. And he actually gets a house in the new housing complex that the developers are building. So that is like what he is doing as he's advocating for this development. He now lives there. So it's just interesting for the role. I have another reveal for people in the audience who aren't aware. Just something for y'all. It's my secret identity. Ready? I'm also Josh. This is Josh. So I know some people get confused by that. My name is Josh.
Wait, what happened?
Josh and Lorik. So some people will get confused because I've been Josh Ingram in the chat for so long. That they forget that is my name. I am Josh. I'm also Lorik. So those are, if you're ever confused, we're not twins. That's you, Amber, and then Josh and Aaliyah. I am Lorik. Josh in the chat. Also, why
Lorik, because there's too many Joshes at his job.
Thank you. In our org in Miami, there are at least 3 already. And then nationally, we got probably like 5. So just too many
Joshua is a national black name for people.
Yeah, we had the whole Joshua generation in the church.
Yeshua.
We're not the Moses generation. We're the Joshua generation. I had that going on. It was the whole thing.
I also, speaking of Charleston, Gishi, I also just wanted to say, did you hear about that North Charleston like city council scandal where all these city council members was caught taking bribes and shit, and a few of them pled guilty already, but one of them was holding out, this black guy, but then he just resigned or whatever, and is still pleading not guilty, but now there's a special election there.
Mhm.
Okay, because I said these niggas be stealing or taking bribes. Like I said, why do
Man,
y'all think
listen.
y'all can do what white people do?
Listen, bro. Listen.
Did you learn nothing from the Tennessee walls?
Listen, one day, I posted this little thing against I can't even remember the boy name now. One of the little city council folks, and then I posted a long critique of him because he did an interview with one of my homegirls who I co-host a couple Juneteenth events with, and she only did it because he paid her to do it, because she's like a media person. And I did this long critique of him, and then in comes somebody who says they're anti-capitalist, anti-imperialist mayor candidate. I ain't gonna call the name because they already did the interview with them. And now there's on her now. She don't want to tell me that's what she is. So I was like, oh yeah. And then she can, come on Black Power Media and say a lot of wild shit and act like, but she really came to try to shit on the left when she came. She's like, well, you radical too left and and then the minute she her ass wasn't gonna win, she supported the most farthest right motherfucker on there. They locked in, they cousins and shit. I'm like,
so she's a Democrat? Is that what I'm hearing?
I don't know what the fuck. I don't know.
That sounds like a Democrat move right there.
No, but the thing is she if she is, she jumped over and she had blood in with the Republican candidate.
Oh, she went so right that she went. Okay,
yeah,
that's still a Democrat too. That's what's funny.
So yeah, and I said all to say, yeah, them niggas, they're shifty down there. Hey, we call it mixy. Them boy being mixy down there, man. So you had to get right. Them boy mixy.
Yeah, one of the people I know is running for his seat, and I was asking him how they got a special election. He was telling me, I said, damn, niggas ain't learning to stop accepting bribes.
Hell no. And then Boeing down there too. Yeah, shit, Boeing the number one employer in the world at this point now, Craig. Listen.
I said y'all just be falling for all the shenanigans.
Amber, the last time I tried to move home, listen, I was trying to move home for a long time because I want to get back, whatever. And one of the community people from Bowen told me, they said, well, maybe you need to get under somebody that to mentor you. And even if you disagree with them, you could just kind of go along with them, and you could just go along with them, and then they could develop you. And I said, no. And then he said, well, I think it's going to be hard for you to do any work around here. It's a black man. And he over all of the community connections for Boeing.
Sell out and stop fucking playing. Somebody in the chat said something about because the check hit enough zeros. Baby, it wasn't even a lot of money. I'm gonna look this shit up so y'all know it was not a lot of money. And that's why I was like, you know how dumb you gotta be to get caught for a little bit of money?
But the thing is, it's really not the money, it's the proximity to them people. You can keep throwing them $2, but I'm telling you, the way the dude said it to me, I'm telling you, just to be folks, this man is literally told me he has the ability in a subtle way to really make shit hard for me. Anything I'm doing. And so if you live in that, then I'm not justifying why they would do a particular thing. But if you live in that, that's why
federal corruption charges for $1,000 and $2,500.
You ain't hear what I'm saying though.
I understand the proximity to power is part of it, but that's just fucking insane. You didn't even get a meal.
Right.
You didn't get a hot milli off of them. You got $1,000.
Listen, whenever them people start talking about being in them rooms, I'm telling you, when they say in the rooms, the money is the money. They don't give a damn. You can get $15 and still be in one of them rooms and feel like you moving on the world. And there's a lot of things you don't have to pay for.
Why I feel like this is why it's important for people to have real friends and for them to not only get some kind of satisfaction from being around important people, because then you fall for fugazi shit. I'd have been in rooms with important people and I didn't give a damn. Them niggas was lying. Yeah. I was like, oh, okay. Like, it's not that big of a deal, but because I know who I am, I'm that girl. It's not a big deal for me, but for them, it's like the only thing they got in life. Like,
Yeah, I was gonna say
I forgot about this too. Yeah,
it comes back.
oh,
It comes
yeah.
back to that quote from the beginning by Ancestor Frazier. They live in a world of make believe, right? And also, Glenn Ford and Black Agenda team talking about the Black Men's Leadership class is real and aspirational. So there's always somebody trying to climb in to that class, to the point of Aaron earlier. So I see it that way. And yes, it always bothers me. That's how I know we're colonized, just like the folks on the continent, because it's the same exact thing. We get crumbs of crumbs for traders, compradors, and then we're the main ones that they show for government corruption, right? Just like the ICC, you go on the ICC's website, ain't a damn Israeli on there until I guess somewhat recently. It's all African leaders and dictators and things of that, people who have taken lower tier bribes compared to the folks who stole entire countries. So we see that on a lower level, I think, in the internal neo-colony, which is Black America. Same exact thing. Like there was a accusation against Gillum that he took Hamilton tickets. That was like, bro.
And my thing is, as a nigga who went to go see Hamilton, and I was like in the 6th row, them tickets was only $260. So I understand. Like, why was you taking free tickets?
And maybe and the Republicans. So here's the thing: Republicans it's so much lie, and
he didn't even see the original cast at that.
Maybe. So here's my thing: there's so many lies and anti-Black propaganda that I'm not even entirely sure. I know it was shady enough that they were like, look. Now DeSantis has stolen $10 million with his wife through Medicaid, I believe. So just look into that story when you're interested. And all of these white people steal more. The Mayor Suarez, the current mayor of Miami, and his dad is now running again. Imagine if Papa Doc tried to run after Baby Doc in Haiti. That's what's happening.
Hey, y'all, it's all monopoly money.
What's all monopoly?
That's what I'm saying. It don't really matter. It's like the power. Like I'm hearing Amos in the back of my head. Like, yo, even if you take $1 or $5 or $1,000, like it's monopoly money. And
it's all about. I do agree with you. It's all about the proximity to power, which is why it's so important that people can stand in their own power. Like, why are you so fucking lame then? But
and my bad, Josh. I was about to call you Ezra too. I mean, see, you put my bad, Lord. Go ahead, finish.
No, that was it. Y'all got it, because I just don't. I look at it too. I have my triangle, which is like the Black bourgeoisie are either sociopaths, delusional, or both. Like you can't have one or the other. That's how I see it. I see Obama as sociopath. I see certain people like what's his name who passed away from COVID, Herman Cain, when they had him out there doing the routes. I see him as delusional, and then there's a lot of people who are somewhere in the middle, or have both qualities. So that's how I see us, unfortunately.
Man, look.
Man.
I agree with the one you highlighted, Geechee.
Oh,
his house money.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's what Malcolm said. Is the house thing grows?
Tell me this: if Obama is that, then what is his followers and the people who still celebrating? So
right,
my one of the Babas, he posts this picture of him and his wife. He's a principal. Most people probably know him, but when Margaret was like, both of y'all look great. Happy birthday, Principal Kafeli. So I was like, what did I say? I said they do. This backdrop folks need to celebrate on their pages. No more Obamas. And the way these folks was like, they can celebrate them both, and it's weird. And Obama should always be celebrated. And then I shared, like maybe y'all should read Margaret book. Margaret said, well, you can sell it, well, you can buy that. But hey, but so what if Obama is that, then what makes his neutralized followers who like?
I feel like the Obama thing, even though I wish people would like read, I feel like the Obama thing is so big that we can't convince everybody, but I didn't convince a huge chunk of people to hate that nigga. So I'm doing my part. I need y'all to do y'all's.
And the younger they are, the easier it is. The brainworms getting deep older. You know how like chicken pox hurts you more as an adult? That's how Obama is for Black people. Like the older you are, it's like, damn. This did a
it
number on you.
hard. I also just want to say that 8 of them city council members took bribes, and 6 of them pled guilty. But Brown, the one that just resigned recently in October, he still pleaded not guilty, and he only got $2,500 in cash. So you got $2,500 in cash to vote for something, and now you got federal corruption charges.
Ask him where you stay at. Because again, Amber,
He barely stay in North Charleston. That's what I heard.
But the thing, those things, that's what he got traceably. Like you can trace that part, right? But you don't know what else you got. I'm telling them boy is shocky and mixy.
Some of them are, that's what I'm saying. Some of them are actually know how to play the game. Some of them, some of them, they've been in those meetings and they know. This is the thing, like you saying, Amber. Like if you don't know how much to ask for, you know, like this is my thing. They don't scam on that level. They're not capitalist at that level. If you know,
well, I love a good scam, so.
You could be like, okay, give me this. But if you're thinking, oh, I'll get a little this, I'll get a little card. That's how they play you. They know they can give you that. But if you ask for some real tokens, they're not going to give you a seat at the table. That's the real delusion again. Like, unless you're going to be Obama level sociopath, Michelle level sociopath, that seat at the table. Nah, you can clean up.
Now I will say,
and even if you get more money, you got to give it back to them though.
How you got to give it back to them?
You don't own nothing. You don't own
buy the big what you gonna buy?
What you gonna buy? What you gonna buy?
You could. They didn't let this dude get a telecom station, so he got the most expensive house in the USA. Who was it? He bought the Tony Stark mansion. Robert Smith, I think it was. He tried to buy a telecommunications thing. They said, hell no. And they're like, oh, he's like, oh, Robert Smith buys the biggest house in the US. He gave the white folks a cut. He gave that white realtor some money. He gave the city some taxes. He ain't give him nothing in terms of power.
But this is also why one thing that I learned in Hamilton that I will always remember is that the way that nigga was obsessed with being in the room where it happens, that was dangerous. And I would never want to be like that because that shit was weird. I said, listen, you a little bit manic about this shit. You need to calm down.
Yeah.
But Leslie Odom, he sold that performance, but like Aaron Burr is the person, like the character, insane. And also the government is so fucking messy, and this is why I be telling people you really should study the government when it was starting, because now you'll understand why it's so messy now.
Oh yeah,
so messy.
That's again the history. They try and start the history of Miami in the 1970s. There's a lot of history you're skipping over. Last thing, yes, the Miami mayor did. So there's two. Again, you got to remember the county mayors, Mayor Daniel Levine Cava, anti-Venezuela's State Department asset, but she's seen as progressive because she's compared to Julia Tuttle. Miami is one of the only major American cities founded by a woman. Whoop-de-doo. This woman was a white woman, citrus plantation heiress, who came down and moved into a house built by slaves. But sure, Julia Tuttle did also found Miami, and so this woman is now seen as inheriting her legacy, which I think makes perfect sense. She's a Latina woman. Her kids look like Aryan youth or her grandkids. So some folks might call her progressive, but if you see how she acts around Venezuela and then, of course, Israel, she is an imperialist like the rest of them. Pretty gross. But Miami City Mayor Francis Suarez did want to bomb Cuba. He also recently met with the Nobel Peace Prize winner down here in Miami, right around where I was telling you all the land got given away, with the Institute of like Latin American leadership or something. I'll look it up, but it was about ending dictatorships in Latin America. So the mayor of Miami was talking to the Nobel Peace Prize winner about how they were going to overthrow Maduro, and he and his wife couldn't wait to have tea with her in the presidential palace. So they are actively planning coups right in downtown Miami, to Deruba's point earlier about what we deal with down here. So, yep. Y'all ready? It's been we got some news, we got some stories. Welcome to the Friday Remix Show. Like, share, subscribe. And
today is December 5th, 2025. The year is almost over. I hope y'all are lining up your year in review music mixes you're gonna be using, because I have 2 TikToks I'm making. The music in review like little sound bites right now are really good. So now's the time to go ahead and start preparing, you guys. And it's 8:15 a.m. and we're gonna slap the map.
Right.
At one of our community's ground zero, this is one of our September 11 stories. Black people are the OVs, the original victims. At one of our community's ground zero, this is one of our September 11 stories. Black people are the OVs, the original victims of terrorism. Every day, September 11th. December the 4th, about 4:35 in the morning, they cut all the lights up on the whole west side of Chicago because they're 13, 14 years old, there was unofficial security for the chairman. IMCA came and got them and sent them out of town on a winter retreat. Members of his staff was put in isolation in Cook County Jail. All this was done strategically, man. The FBI had a floor plan of the apartment so detailed they knew a pack of cigarettes might be in the motherfucking house. They blocked the entire block up, pulled occupants from inside their homes, came through the front, through the back, man. They immediately hit the door, knocked on the door, said, man, who is it? Say, Tommy. Say, Tommy, who's it? Tommy, go. They come in and shoot me. They immediately shot and assassinated 22-year-old defense captain Mark Clark. They kept on shooting, and other arguments said, stop shooting, we got a pregnant sister here. He just turned 19 4-5 days before that. He 9 months pregnant. She feel the shells come through the motherfucking mattress. She covered down over the chair, pulled out the room because she see he wasn't moving. Open her robe, put a gun in her stomach. That's the prenatal care I got. I ain't getting no doctor stethoscope with my mama belly. The first people still I came into contact with was Chicago Police Department revolver, placed my mama's pregnant belly. The Chicago police was right here with Candace's body out. They was smiling. They was chanting. They was saying, Chairman Fred is dead. And it's a crime motherfucker don't know about it. So west side of Chicago, motherfuckers in Brazil know about it. Oh, Chairman, you be kind of talking too fast. Shit, motherfuckers don't speak English over there. How the fuck they know about it? You don't know about it. Before he was a chairman, his FBI file started when he was 14 years old. He took the junior NAACP from 7 to 300 members in 7.5 month time period. Getting the vice lords working at the Free Medical Center, the disciples from the devil disciples to the black disciples working at the Free Breakfast Program. You start answering some questions, man. Yeah, look at yourself. Say, man, what am I doing chasing this American dream? You know what I'm saying? Why ain't putting the resource back in my community, my people?
He really ate with that because niggas be saying I talk too fast too. He ate y'all up with that one. That's right. Just put me on the screen. Hi, guys. It's cold as fuck outside. That's why I got on a sweater. And I just want y'all to know that I hate it.
Amber, wow, bro. What happened? Hey, listen.
How am I wild?
I got two things. And Lord, I ain't trying to take us off the story, man. I promise you.
No, hold on. Wait. That's real quick. He said they don't speak English, but Chairman Fred Jr. do talk real quick. Well, he was saying motherfuckers don't speak English in Brazil, and they don't know that. So he was saying, how do you not know? And I love that. Shout out Chairman Fred Jr. Definitely captured his father's fire in that video. Go ahead, Geechee.
So again, I don't want to. Well, actually, I'm gonna just put it here. So I know some sisters, right, who have courageously stood up to that dude there, and has had some experiences with that dude, and then that dude has allowed other men who were tyrants and harmful people to go unheld accountable. So I want to say shout out to those sisters who were able to stand up and defend yourself and each other. And then also and again I hate that it might change some shit. But then I wonder if there's a conversation around like his prenatal care conversation he just said. Like we know like this motherfucker had a really, really, really fucked up life and probably still do. But that doesn't really justify how, you know, Diallo always talked about this victim versus vector type shit, right? Victims are, you know, victims, but then you start spreading shit, you become a vector, right? And so, yeah, I guess I'm like struggling with the complexities of like, let's talk about what he's saying and all the dynamics, and then he show up some particular way, and then there's sisters here and then there's people who like, it's just a lot fucking going on, and I was just putting that out there.
It is a lot going on. You know, something I have also been thinking about as like I've been becoming a more responsible adult, still irresponsible, but slightly more responsible, is that a lot of the shit I be thinking about, like that's going on, it be super serious to me, but it don't be that serious in real life. And then I feel like I can't complain about it, so I complain about it in my head. But I just feel like being an adult has so many inconveniences that the little most minor thing really will take you over the edge. And I really feel like that's what makes it hard in organizing for me sometimes, to focus on just one thing, because there's so many things happening. And I feel like I got to like at least help a little bit with each thing. But then I also be like, damn, this is too much.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a word. Geechee, tying those two together, I think I didn't know that. I wasn't aware of those. So we'll obviously talk and I'll get more information. But absolutely something that needs to be discussed. To your point, Amber, like it can be distracting. It can stop the work from happening if you know there's a contradiction in the room. That's why I don't like, as Audre Lorde says, no hierarchy of oppression. I don't like situations where like, oh, we'll just solve this first, or oh, we're just here to talk about class. You're distracted from class. Because again, this sounds like white leftists. This sounds like the cracker left, the settler left. When they're just like, yeah, just ignore this. Yeah, let's just move on. And I do think we can get bogged down in all sorts of personal disputes if we don't have ways for dealing with that and relating to each other. So I don't want to say this is like get bogged down in every single hot topic and Twitter conversation and beef, but there are some direct harm that Geechee's mentioning, like that just has to be addressed, and you can't just try and organize around it, or let's just finish this campaign up, because it'll just blow shit up in the worst way possible.
Also, my comments were not saying we should not talk about what you're talking about. I just thought about.
Oh
that.
no, I completely. But I see how those. I was trying to see Landa.
Also, Art, are you saying speak more on what Geechee's talking about? Because I do agree we should, or what I was saying. I'm just trying to make sure. Put in the comments.
Yeah.
I do think we should talk about it though, Geechee, because I also feel like it's only like 2 movement niggas I know that ain't had no open letter written about them, and I also think that's why I tend to be extremely careful in the things that I like and willing to say that I like created or I did, and in how I treat people, because I ain't that nice. So I don't want no nigga writing no open letter about me. So I be trying to rein it in just a little bit. But I do feel like there's a lot of toxicity in movement. And that's also another reason why I kind of be having one foot in, one foot out. Like I really only fully committed in the last few years, because I do feel like sometimes it becomes people's whole personalities. And I don't like that. That's one thing I don't like about like social media, is like how someone's whole personality becomes like this persona they have online. And I was like, that's not me. Like I'm a regular ass person, and I don't want that to be the only thing people know about me, is that I'm making these policy videos, because I have so many other amazing qualities. And I was like, I don't think that is helpful. I think that that's one way that people get burnt out, is that they go way too deep into it, and that's all people know them for. And if you don't ever have anything on the side or anything that's balancing you, then you will burn out, and then you'll just leave movement, or you become very toxic. And I think that's one thing I noticed a lot in like some of the older like movement folks, is that like all they did was movement shit. They ain't have no fun hobbies. Like when I read about Rosa Parks doing yoga, I was like, I'm so glad she was doing something, because a lot of these motherfuckers wasn't doing nothing. They just out protesting all day, organizing, and going to sleep.
Yeah,
that does nothing for your brain.
So I think there's 2 conversations, but they're still connected. There's who says the concept there can't be revolution without evolution? I don't know who first said that, but maybe somebody said it. But so what I hear, Amber, I hear kind of 2 conversations, because the whole environment is toxic, right? So there's no way to step out of it. So even like you don't leave movement and then go into an untoxic world, because supposedly the movement is trying to fix the toxic world.
Yeah.
But what's happening in the movement trying to fix the toxic world is not acknowledging that it's fucking toxic. Like you didn't come into the space learning something, and then you have it all figured out, and then you come and no, like you bring your toxic ass into a toxic ass environment, toxic org with a piece of with people at least saying they want to do something differently, but then you have to figure that shit out while you're in there. So it's like there's really no way to leave it. But can you acknowledge that in order to do this shit, you can't romanticize what happened before and just recreate the shit, because the shit wasn't sustainable, and that's why we're in the fucking condition that we're in right now. And so you would have to build systems of care. Like you would have to take care of your fucking self while you're in these spaces. So yeah, I think it's a couple conversations, but they're all connected.
Yeah, I do get concerned when people romanticize stuff a little too much. Like even once people like dress up like it's Black Panthers and stuff, I was like, you're not. That's not what you should be doing. But I feel like it gets like a little deep and like becomes a big thing for some folks, and we need to also know how to pull them back. How to be like, hey, you're going a little deep into this. Like I care about these people, these topics. I study the things they're talking about, but they're not my personalities. Like my personality is still my own personality. And even like with my little mentees, like they watch what I be doing, like how I talk at city council meetings and other stuff, and they try to copy that. And I had to tell them, hey, do not do that. You will never be me. And this is not a dig. This is me being honest. You have to be yourself. And studying my city council comments to write yours and then speak like me is not what you should be doing. What you should be doing is building up your own beliefs, your own practices, your own ideas, and then putting those into the type of speech that you want to write, and then practicing that. And then they got way better when they did that, because at first they were just like, oh, I admire Amber, I just want to be like her. And I was like, no. One, you don't want to be like me, but also that's not what you should be aiming for. And I think that really helped them. And if we would tell people that, I think it'll be a lot more helpful in movement. Like, stop trying to emulate your Fred Hamptons, your like Rosa Parks, your MLKs. You're not going to be those people. You can think that those practices and principles they had were good, but you are not them. And I think that people do too much of romanticizing and trying to emulate those people than being themselves, and it stalls the organizing that they could do and the progress they could make, because they're way too focused on doing something else or being someone else.
Josh, Lord, I want to hear you. Shout out to Ashley Farmer.
Remember, we're not the same. I was lying.
I know. Shout out to Ashley Farmer for writing that book on Queen Adley Moore, Mother Moore. I feel like everything that we were talking about, especially what Amber just said, Ashley was able to bring that out so you can kind of see Queen Mother's whole life and all the turns, and some of the decisions can make more sense. And you get to reflect on your own self to realize, like, my nigga, you ain't got it all figured out, and your life is, either short or long. But there's so many things, there's so many dips and turns. But go ahead, Lord.
Yeah, we always get the questions about what do we do, or what are some examples. So one thing I wanted to talk about, Amber, is Ori's work, Captivity, Kinship, and Black Masculine Care Work Under Domestic Warfare. So this is about how Black men in prison who are incarcerated take care of themselves. I definitely will, and take care of each other. To your point about how are we going to do this in a principled way? How are we going to address harm while we organize in life or death situations, essentially, because that's what this is for a lot of us. So just wanted to start there. I don't want to make a tangent. I just am more thinking about my thoughts on ancestor Chairman Fred Hampton, because that's who we started this with. But before that, I think is what you were saying, Amber, reminds me of Kwame Ture. Like, we have to actually study and understand the processes of transformation rather than think that we're thinking. Because everything you described to me is what he says about the capitalist education system. The capitalist system will have you think that you're thinking when you're not. So when I've worked with students before and I've talked about writing essays, either when they're doing it for the SAT, which used to have a writing section, or for college, so much of it is that just copy paste. And so now, again, while people are over, sensationalizing ChatGPT, who's going to make youth not able to think or whatever, they said the same thing about Wikipedia and calculators and all of that. The main point to me is that it actually mirrors that kind of lazy thinking that they are taught in schools. If they were able to think more creatively, then they would, of course, use AI creatively, right? Not to say that the technology doesn't have its flaws and its mistakes, but it would be used in ways to actually advance their creative interests, collective projects, stuff like that. Because they are not, they basically are bots, and they are just printing out essays. So when I used to teach kids how to write essays, it would be like you said, Amber. They would try and copy me. And I'll be like, well, first off, you don't have my vocabulary, so you don't know what these words mean. So this just looks bad. You're trying to sound like we think a smart person sounds, when you should sound like yourself and say intelligent things, and then people will understand that you are smart. But again, to your point, everyone's trying to model something or copy something rather than understand the actual process by which it was created. So in that video about Chairman Fred Hampton, I don't think you're going to sound like him. You will not. Different era, different time. You can try and practice public speaking, though. I think that's important. You can recognize how he was a great membership base builder, right? Because the thing I stand out in that video, and then Daruba on this platform has mentioned it before, about Chairman Fred Hampton about to become like the national chairman for the Black Panther Party. But the most dangerous thing I saw about him was he took an NAACP youth chapter at 14 years old from 7 people to 300 people in a few months. So him doing that at the Panthers national level would have been completely different scale in terms of its impact. So I see that as the kind of thing you should be focused on his process. How do you take an organization from 7 members to 300 members, and not those paper members we talked about with Garvey and the Harrison critique, but actual on the ground organizers. And so, yeah, that's my takeaway from that part of the conversation in this video.
Because that's a skill set that people really are afraid of. Like, they're afraid of people who can like move people.
Yeah.
And I learned that the hard way. So.
Yes, like, because those skills he has, it's not about being him, embodying him. It's about embodying his spirit, his method, his discipline. And I will say to our friends on the settler left, or Joe Horn will say, our friends on the left, the white left abuses. There's only one movement, one thing Fred Hampton ever did for the white left, and that was the Rainbow Coalition and bringing the young patriots in and bringing in those racist whites into organization and showing that we're all a united working class. So in honor of Fred Hampton's assassination, interpreting his legacy correctly, I wanted to shout out, we have an interview Jared did a while back on this platform with Mark Clark's relative. So just knowing that Fred Hampton is just one of many solid brothers. So Mark Clark was apparently younger than Fred Hampton and had a lot of the same background and qualifications one city over. So it's just really important to remember those things. Who was Fred Hampton organizing? The Black community. He had Black comrades, obviously. And what did Chairman Fred Hampton Jr. just say was dangerous? He mentioned Black and brown street organizations. Yes, there was the Young Patriots, and they were white, and they did have to renounce the Confederate flag before we organized with them, because that shit is crazy. And we can critique people because H. Rap Brown, Jamil Al-Amin, did not say the same thing about whites as about Fred Hampton, where he said white power, we want white power to white people. I don't think all the Panthers were down with that kind of phrasing. You know what I mean? So he was talking about the street organizations being organized, the street organizations being a revolutionary self-defense. So before we focus on the whites, the poor whites that got organized, the state, the Chicago PD, were worried that Fred Hampton was organizing the Black street organizations. He named 3 Black street organizations before he ever named a white organization. So that's it. Just wanted to properly interpret ancestor Chairman Fred Hampton's legacy. Shout out ancestor Mark Clark too. And thank you, Amber.
I think you interpreted it well. I think that for folks who don't remember this, when I talked about it before on the platform, what you were talking about made me think about when I got banned from city council meetings because we were bringing like 100, 150 people to the meetings every week for like 3 months. And they said, I'm sick of this shit. And they banned me because I think that they thought that by banning me, people weren't going to come no more, but they still came to the meetings, which made it actually even worse. But that's the kind of stuff that people are more afraid of. They're more afraid of people who can move people. And I can move people because I don't be fucking bullshitting. I don't put on an act. I explain things to people, how they need to understand them. And I explain the power that those folks have and how to move them on that power. And then people are like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But because a lot of folks aren't doing that, people aren't moving because they don't understand what impact it has. Like me calling the mayor, what does that do about this one particular thing? Well, let me explain that to you. And that's how you move more people on something. And I really want other people who are organizing to do that extra part, like to add that extra political education in there, because people are more likely to respond when you add that extra part in there. Also, somebody in the chat called me sister, and I just love when y'all do that. So their excuse was they sent me a letter that said that I used profanity, threatening language, and violence in a meeting. And so I was banned from 2 city council meetings, even though on the recording, I had an outburst. I never had an outburst. I never used profanity, and I never used violent language, which is why they get sued. But that's a different story.
Geechee. Hey, Amber, to your last one, I wanted to talk about just how we make that language plain for people to bring them in the first place, because as you were saying, Amber, we have to be direct and make this so that people can understand it beyond us, that people will keep going to the meetings after us. And I think sometimes we run from the propaganda, we run from the contradiction and the confrontation. So I love to show this example of when we talk about organizing sometimes, in this 501c3 world, people will be constantly like self-censoring their own propaganda in some ways. And this is my favorite for an anti-draft propaganda. This is the kind of stuff SNCC was handing out, right? So when we talk about, are we going too hard? Are we building the base the right way? Like, yo, they went up to people in front of draft
Gave
offices.
them these flyers.
It said, Uncle Sam wants you, nigga. That was it. And you can see it. You can see Kwame Ture handing this shit out. So to me, this is the level of
This type of
confrontation.
trollery that I want.
Thank you. So that's what I think is really important in this moment. And yes, he did. H. Rap Brown did use profanity to get his point across. I mean, Die Nigger Die is the name of his work. So
it took my mom such a long time to get over me using cuss words, y'all, and it's so funny because she's like a middle-class Black woman. She also didn't used to like that I had an afro either. She said the only reason why she was okay with me having natural hair is because I used to do my own hair, so she knew I would know how to make it look right. But before I would have important events, like when I was in college and stuff, she'd be like, all right, are you going to do your hair? You're going to wash it right before? And when I brought that up to her, she was like, I didn't think that. I was like, you're not being honest with yourself, and that's okay. I'm glad that you have let that anti-Blackness go. But yeah, you used to say that. And she also did not like that I used profanity. She was like, I just think you can get your point across without using that kind of language. I said, cuss words are words too. All of them are words. And I don't believe in censoring myself. And she was like, I know, I just think that people don't listen to you. I was like, they are listening. The video going viral right now. And all I said
they
was
always
bullshit.
tell on themselves when they say people, they mean me.
I'm
not listening to you.
And I was like, bro, all I said was bullshit. The rest of the speech was, I didn't say no cuss words except at the end. I said, you always come to the city council meeting on some bullshit. And she was just like, I just think that you don't have to use cuss words. I was like, mommy, I actually I'm going to use all the language that's available to me. I might add some Spanish in there too. Like, I just don't think it's that serious. And I think her generation, especially, that whole like corporate, like the way you present yourself is so well ingrained in her. And it wasn't until I started going to jail that she realized what she was thinking was wrong. Because then she was like, well, she didn't even do nothing. I said, yeah, they lock niggas up all the time. And she was like, I realize that now. Like when they sent the fugitive gang unit to my mama's house to find me for a disorderly conduct charge, she was like, oh, they're just wasting resources. I was like, yes, they are. I'm so glad you're realizing this. And after that, then she was like, oh, the police are not good people. And those cuss words aren't that big of a deal.
Yes.
Then she got over it. But they have to I honestly feel like they have to either have the political education or they have to have the real experiences to be like, okay, this respectability politics is getting me nowhere. Also, my child isn't doing anything wrong and they're coming after her like she's a fucking terrorist.
Yep. Yeah. Geechee, you look like you thinking.
Man, I've been having some good ass the last few days, bro. And I don't think it's been good as in things has been changing. It's just that I've been able to like process it in a different way and then notice certain things. So that's what I was thinking. And then I had a conversation with my sister last night, and boy, she told me some shit that was heavy. Like, and so
in y'all family?
Yeah, like, I thought her relationship with my mom was way better, but then like, so something happened last year, and I ain't gonna get into details. Something happened last year and she never told me about it, but it happened again this year. And like she called me and she was like, I was gonna call you last year, but I just couldn't. And then she told me, and then we went into a whole goddamn conversation that like she was telling me that I remember flashes of things when I was little that was happening. And when she told me, I was like, oh shit, that's what was happening. And so I'm just having like those moments as we're talking because
at the same time.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, and then
I think getting older, I also realize how much autonomy I have around family too. Like if I don't want to be around y'all, I don't have to be around y'all. And I hold that boundary. And I think that my mom also struggles with that too. Like when I hang out with them, I'm hanging out with them, right? But after an hour or two, all right, I'm finna go back home. And she really struggles with that. And I saw this video. It was a video on TikTok, and this girl was like, the like middle caption said POV, the angry middle daughter is out, away from her family. And it was her like at parties and hanging out with friends and like showing her personality. And I think a lot of times people aren't able to be themselves fully around their family because they don't fully understand them. And because I'm in a family, me and my sister are the only super radical ones. So because I'm in a family of like very much moderate niggas, I just don't show that full part of my personality all the time. And I also use my autonomy to not be around you 24/7 if I don't want to be. It's gotten a lot better. Like I love my mama, so like we've gotten a lot closer over the years that she's like kind of came around. But I also fully use my autonomy and my boundaries when I don't want to be around them. And I think that people, as they get older and start doing that, it becomes a lot easier to say, I'm gonna spend an hour on a holiday with somebody and then I'm gonna go. And I think that people should use those boundaries.
But yeah, I hear that, and what I'm talking about is connected to boundaries, and but I also just think like I mean, I guess maybe people have these conversations with their therapists one-on-one, but like collectively, do we have a conversation right? Like we really don't fucking know about boundaries, and we like how can you really know about boundaries? Being forced to speak English, being forced in this like so. The other day we was having a conversation with this group, and I guess it's connected to there's this book called Post Communist Script, and it talks about languification and how English language is, it just embeds some weapons that you don't even know, like you just keep stabbing yourself with it, you don't even know. But we was talking about something about like self, right? And then like the whole idea of self, and then you like, well, two people literally made you, and you have genes and bloods and name and personality, and then but you're still trying to run with this idea of the self.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And then you totally connected and interconnected any and everything. But anyway, with that said, like I don't know if we like have enough collective conversations around like the concept of boundaries, if we want to call it boundaries or something else, but like most of us don't even like we're just learning that shit like tomorrow.
Boundaries, I think people weaponize the word boundaries too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I agree with what Zinzi's saying. There's a difference between boundaries and control. Like I think that I do think that control can be helpful for some people because some folks have grown up without any control, right? And I have had moments where I felt out of control. So control is important to me. And I have had to grapple with what level of control is healthy and what level is not. And now that I am not using an unhealthy level of control and the world has not blown up and I'm okay, then I'm able to do it more. But I think that when people have experiences of not having good boundaries or not having a lot of control in life, it is extremely hard for them to let go or to allow themselves to not be fully in control of something. And the one time that you do it and it go wrong, it like brings you back like 5 years. Like the level of vulnerability I've had over the last 2 years took me 10 years of therapy to get to. Like it takes a very long time. And I even asked my therapist one time, like last year after I said I would stop not dating people who live in Memphis because I like to be in control. She was like, she's so happy. I was like, so like, you don't get frustrated after like trying to convince me to be vulnerable for like 12 plus years. She was like, no, it really takes a while. Like it takes time. Mind you, I've been going to this therapist for 10, 12 years. And I'm just always surprised that she's not annoyed, that she is genuinely happy for me when I'm able to accomplish something. And she don't be getting pissed off because I feel like some people be like, I'm sick of this shit. Either you gonna do this or not. Because I feel like my mama would say that to me. But she is a great therapist and able to understand that. And I think some people need that level of support and they just aren't getting it. But once they do get it, it's really, really helpful for them. But also that level of support is expensive because my therapy bill is expensive. It's the biggest bill I got. I just paid that shit down. And I'm so proud of myself. But a lot of people cannot afford therapy. And so they're using their partners or their friends who are not always the best. And I think that's another part of it too.
That shit just made me think about like if we can ever think. And we talked about like possibilities. I talked about this with the seniors the other day. Like we always be like, what's possible, like in a good way, but I don't think we ever really think about what's possible in a bad way. Like possibly, like in a few years, we could be gone from this motherfucker, and they be like the African Americans. They used to be saying this type of shit, and we be in the museums. Like that's possible too, right? But then I'm thinking about like do we ever think about the possibility of a world where there's no industry of therapy? Like that's just how niggas get down. That's how niggas talk and get together. You can express yourself, whatever. But like, But now
I
to
think
get
we
that, you would have.
fuck without therapists, bro. I ain't gonna hold you.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but what if you make it to a world where that's not even a thing, like where all the things that's happening and how people engage with each other, like they can have those experiences so that they don't have to like go have that experience with somebody on the couch because of what the fucking world is.
Yeah,
but
I think they would require people to not lean into like people pleasing tendencies, and I even do that sometimes. Like my friends, sometimes I'll be wanting to tell them something a little bit harsher, but I don't want to come off mean. So I'll be a little nicer than I should be, or I'll kind of give into like their thoughts a little bit more than I should. And I think that's the only thing with like your family or friends guiding you through something. They have to be able to do it with you authentically, and that's very hard.
I was gonna say y'all are
I
setting
gotta
up
let
the
my dog
conversation.
out, y'all. I'll be right back.
Cool. Y'all are setting up the Saturday's conversation tomorrow well. With navigating family in the holidays, because I think that tends to be a place where a lot of these things come together in a perfect storm, and you get to see certain contradictions unfold. So that was one thing. I do want to highlight Revolutionary Women's Radio as a liberation psychology therapist. I think about a world without therapy, the way it exists inside carcerality and capitalism all the time. Yeah, it's absolutely essential to navigate that. And what y'all would describe, it made me think of what I was responsible for this week in our study, which we're calling the Crow Reader. And that was by ancestor Atiba Shana. Oh, I don't want to say ancestor if this person's still around. So let me check. But I was responsible for reading this week. And to your point, Geechee, I think it comes back to what we talk about. Like the goal is transforming society, but a lot of that is the internal transformation, the inner revolution that Sophia Bakari and Asada Shakur talk about. And a lot of that is, like you're saying, recognizing the illegitimacy of the state, the society you live in, and how it creates these conditions, and then also taking responsibility for yourself. And so Tibashana lays that out. Again, when we talk about transformation in the Black radical tradition, Malcolm is someone who immediately comes to mind. But like I said, Safia and Asada are other examples. And on this point of boundaries, we rebel as a means of exposing intolerable conditions and treatment, but we seek to have someone other than ourselves change these conditions and to change the treatment, rather than to assume responsibility ourselves for our whole lives. And so I think a big point about even boundaries sometimes comes from a position of like self-respect. Like you have to love yourself, recognize that you are trying to change. And even if other people around you aren't trying to transform, like we're saying with our family, even if they're not as politicized, you're taking responsibility for your own transformation. But then you're always connecting that to the society in the first place. And for me, that helps me create my own boundaries, but it also helps me understand other people, why they have the boundaries that they do have. But also sometimes why they're violating boundaries or why they don't understand this in the first place, right? So I think it does come back to that core mission we talk about, which is how are you transforming yourself? Or in BNB, we say, how will you transform to meet the moment? So I just wanted to highlight that. And if y'all haven't checked out this article again, it's on Transforming the Colonial Criminal Mentality by Atiba Shana. But a lot of us, especially our brothers, come into this like, well, where's the roadmap? There's no roadmap for how to do this, for how to get healthy, for how to, build discipline and self-control. And there is. A lot of it comes from political prisoners. I think to Kwesi Balagoon having a workout plan. Like if you even go down to that, he told you how you train, how you work out. George used to talk about how you would callous your fists so that you knew how to hit hard, right? All of these things, I think, fit within the project of transforming yourself and things like that. Yes, I will put the article in the chat, but
I agree, Lord.
yeah.
Also, Brittany, you did not have to bring up that lady's race.
Oh, your therapist, your white therapist.
Why you say it too? Shit.
Because you put me on blast earlier.
I mean, well, all the therapists essentially white, since the industry and the concept, I don't know, but anyway. Shout out to
she is white, but
shout out to this
at
resource
this point,
share.
I ain't getting no new therapist, child.
Oh, yeah, this is the okay. Yeah. Thank you, Geechee. Go ahead with the resource share.
Yeah. Shout out to Revolutionary Women's Radio, Resource Share, Loveland Foundation funds 12 therapy sessions for Black women, Open Path Collective, low cost therapy. So thank you for that resource.
Yeah, I did Loveland Foundation's therapy stuff last year. They funded 12 of my therapy appointments. Now I did do more than 12, but they do fund 12 of them, and which is really good because my therapist actually got more. She got more coverage from Loveland than she would from my insurance because my insurance like pays out a smaller amount or something. So it was actually better because I felt like she was getting more bang for her buck because I was taking her through there.
Take me through that. Take me through that.
I be taking her.
What I do? What I say wrong?
It's wrong, bro. Oh, I gotta get better with the drops. I gotta.
Somebody was saying it's art with words. Said that we should use this episode as PE for CMB. So Geechee, you should figure that out.
I'm glad you like. I'm glad. That's high praise. Anytime an episode gets used as PE, and we were talking about violating boundaries. And Geechee, I know you mentioned the surveillance earlier, so that transitions perfectly into this story. Speaking of consent and boundaries and what is criminal, let's check this out. It's a new ad for Waves glasses.
This is it. This is the spot. That's how you do it out here.
Wrong room.
Get the fuck out.
Look who showed up. I'm not late, am I? Whoops.
This escalated quickly.
Hey.
Hey. Are you recording me?
That's why I don't trust niggas.
Woo! Late stage capitalism, baby. Wow. Man, if y'all ever wonder why, James Bond is a cop, just watch that ad again. And you'll see this the stuff he was talking about in sci-fi. But now, yeah, it's a reality. Amber, why do you not trust niggas? What's your immediate reaction?
I mean, I don't, this is not the first type of glasses. They have the meta glasses and all the other stuff. And I just think that it's an invasion of privacy the same way I feel about drones and stuff. Again, back to the administrative law cases. There's this case about someone flying a drone right in front of eye view of a window at somebody's house and how it's an invasion of privacy because we have a constitutional right of an expectation of privacy. And so they had to rule on how low drones can fly because of that case. And I just think that stuff like this also teeter-totters into that too. I have an expectation of privacy. Somebody in the chat even said that he just saved the clip of these people having sex, stuff like that. I also feel like so much of our lives is already online so much. I choose what I want to put online, right? I choose what I want to post. And one thing I do all the time is never posting in real time. I just posted about going to see Hamilton yesterday, and I did that 2 months ago. So I would never want someone with these glasses who can show where I am in real time and be like, yeah, I saw Amber at this thing and post a clip of me. I don't like shit like that. When people post me on stuff, tag me, I never accept the tags either. I don't want people to know where I am. One, because I be doing too much. But also, I don't want people knowing where I'm at. And I don't like it. I don't like the glasses shit. I feel like this also is going to be a case for something. Somebody going to sue somebody about some shit because this is definitely an invasion of privacy.
I'm sorry, I saw it.
Mhm.
Man. Yeah, Amber.
With
I
the
mean,
glasses. Shit, I'm
it's
scared to put my glasses back on because they
Yep.
thick too. Shit.
this shit. Wow, Amber. Exactly what you said. I mean, the biggest immediate thing I saw a lot of women pointing out was like, "Yo, make sure they don't put their glasses by your nightstand." And it's just, again, this is the world we live in, unfortunately. And they even implied in the commercial that you could record somebody getting into freaky shit and blackmail them. Like, that was blackmail when he got whatever dude in the banana suit. Like, that's supposed to be funny, but it's not. It's terrifying. So I've been seeing these ads everywhere. I think I saw Ray J, do the Meta glasses. I saw Tiana Taylor, all over the place. I know there's, I think, partnerships with Ray-Ban, but
This is also why it's so dangerous to idolize celebrities because they always gonna disappoint. Because Alendra got a fucking Skims partnership, and I said, "See, I'm good." I ain't even paying attention to her anyways, but when I saw that, I said, "See, there's no ethical consumption under capitalism, and she gonna making bad decisions."
Yeah, no way to consent to this either. I mean, that was even at the end, like, it's funny. They have two pretty people looking at each other, and it's supposed to be cute. But like, are you recording me? Like, yeah, that's fucking weird. What? That's so odd, especially at a party. Like, if I'm coming at a party and somebody, I don't care how pretty they are. Like, are you recording me? Is a serious question. So,
and Tennessee is a one-party consent state, and so if I'm in a meeting, I should always know I'm probably recording you. Not with electeds, not other people. But I do audio record. What'd you finna say, Geechee?
No, I'm saying that's actually where I was gonna go. So I want you to finish that, please.
Yeah, I audio record meetings like with the mayor. I audio record interviews, like when the news actually interview me for something. I audio record it so that whatever they cut out, if I need to like correct something and play a clip later, because I had to do that one time, I can, because the media chops shit up. Even when I'm doing like strategic media stuff where I'm saying the same thing multiple times, they'll still try to chop some shit up. So I just do it as a protection mechanism. Like, people never hear the recordings. It's for me. But I also think it's important to like have that as a safe option just in case, because these elected officials be with the shit and they'll get into a meeting and say something and never act on it. So I'm like, I got this recorded. And so I'm going to go back and record a podcast episode where I talk about the promises that you made. And the one time I did that, a motherfucker responded the next day. So I do think it's a protection mechanism in some cases, but I only do that in Tennessee because it's a one-party consent state. And I'm not video recording, I'm audio recording. So I have the audio of what people are saying or promising.
Yep.
Yeah. I feel like we in this big ass fishbowl, and all of us in the water, and we like trying to scream to get out. And really outside of it, somebody can see like all y'all niggas in the same water, bro. Like, but so I did, when the videos, literally the video throw the boy in the water and then you turn on the camera or whatever. But it's almost like you filming somebody's humiliation for your enjoyment and all these other things. And but then, as kind of Amber was saying, and so how, well, I don't know, when New Orleans is supposedly surveilled, fully surveilled. They said you can't go walk down no place without being on camera. And again, I know we just talked about a world without therapists, but like I'm also seeing how even Black people are starting to get behind some of these things, and maybe the lens that they're using is like, for instance, my one of my homies was with the wrong person at the wrong time and was removed from this place. But there's cameras around that shows who, how, when, where, and that could either provide closure for people or it could solve cases. You might be in spaces where I don't trust none of you motherfuckers, so I'm recording every fucking thing. So and this could be in your org, and this could be in your family or wherever the fuck is at, and that helps you either remain sane, because if you don't tell it right, or if you don't have the right character, my nigga, like your shit ain't gonna be believed. And so when you feel like you got to get evidence, like this again big ass fishbowl, and all of us be like, oh, look at them niggas over there recording, and this is weird. But then he was like, well, nigga, you gonna have to record if you want. So it's just a lot that I'm like feeling the fishbowl, because I understand how niggas being sold into it, and with the other thing, like I understand like this whole entrepreneurial stuff. Like some of the people want to record because they feel like they need to maintain that wealth if they get it one time. So I know you heard like a lot of them niggas who made it celebrity or whatever. It's like, oh man, I'm recording all my interaction with women, so they can't say I didn't. But so
no, I mean the surveillance state is a mess, and it never. I don't want to say never because everyone will be like, well, in my individual case, this happened and things like that. It's typically not something that serves us. It's almost always wielded against us or backfires when we try and use it and things like that. Again, check out Saturdays with Renee on the body cams and how that was really advertised and pushed forward. It was not for accountability and things of that nature. And I was just thinking right back to last week in the Chris Payne case, right? We're trying to locate random cell phone metadata in these hyper surveilled cities, and nobody has a video of this man working the night that he's alleged to have done this incident, right? So how
Why
is
they
this not,
the cameras inside? Are they doing illegal shit? I don't understand that either.
we talked about we talked about a bunch of things, right? Yeah, exactly. Because the club was shut down. That's a good point. But yeah, in Chris Payne's case in Shibuya, there were the cameras. There's nothing that could exonerate him. In Trey Reed's case, they're not releasing any camera footage. So when does the camera help us? Is like my question. And I get why people would be seduced, though. To our point earlier about we have to teach people boundaries when technology is constantly shifting. The ethics have to shift too. So we have to have a core, as Jared says, like it doesn't transform the relationship. So at your core, we have to teach consent. We have to value people's boundaries, things of that nature. But it is, I think, confusing for a 12-year-old who grew up watching spy movies and James Bond and all of that, and then they get these glasses for Christmas and they are in the, someone they got a crush on at school, and now they're starting to record this girl in class and that kind of thing. It's a obviously violating consent and boundaries, but I could see how a child could fall into that, end up making a mistake, and then not have no kind of guidance for why that's wrong. In fact, that child is most likely going to be told by peers and unfortunately adults, like creepy security guards on these campuses, that behavior is okay and that is fine. So I'm worried about that at the end of the day. The cameras never get used for anything that we enjoy. And as Geechee's pointed out, instead, now you just have this way to publicly record people, to capture humiliation. The thing that stood out to me was the brain rot directly into your optic nerve with that Twitch chat. I don't know if y'all saw the Twitch chat scrolling on the glasses. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that has to be age gated. Like I do not think anyone.
The only time I used Twitch was like watching protest shit from different cities at one time. I have never been a huge Twitch fan, and I don't get the hype. But they're like a huge platform. Like I know people who do video game stuff who like be playing on there and make buku's money.
Yeah, and that's why I could see how. I mean, I've seen kids just sitting at the table now recording content. It's the era we live in, and like I'm not gonna be some grumpy about it, but I see a 14-year-old saying "Hey chat" in front of Chipotle the other day, recording his bowl. Like it is what it is, and I guess the alternative, right, that a lot of Black parents are stuck in would be like, well, you need a job or whatever. But if this person can make more money off Twitch than they could working at Chipotle at $12 an hour or whatever, then you see how they get pushed into using that technology, right? So
I hate people be saying "Hey chat." I be like, what is wrong with y'all? Like I see people will say that shit and they're not even on live or recording or nothing. It's just like part of that language because we've like adopted this idea that everybody should be in your business.
Yep.
Hey world. But I mean, it is. We live in this little fish tank until we get in the other fish tank, but we still got to figure out how to get the fuck out of the fish tank.
Do y'all be thinking about that sometimes? I'd be like, eventually we are going to be in a different fish tank or I am going to die. And I wonder what that's going to be like.
World builder, you get together and shape that motherfucker. How about that? We figure what it looks like.
Said, have you ever said "Hey chat"? No, I have not.
I think it's funny, but yes, it is definitely a sign of the time we live in. We had another story very related to this that was about this Walmart customer. I mean, again, people in the comments who are bootlickers will always try and come up with some excuse. try and say they're detectives, and he must have left his phone number or something like that. But it was an interesting case. We don't have to watch this entire video. But Walmart. What did you say?
AILP.
What's that?
Play the video. I'm gonna tell you when we come.
Oh, okay, got you. Yeah. We're gonna get into this brief video about a Walmart customer and corporate surveillance.
Hey, how does Walmart know what I'm buying in cash? I got an email from them this afternoon that says, hey, can you rate this product that you purchased recently? And I did purchase that product recently from Walmart. I bought it in cash, right? I walked to the electronics section and bought a USB charging cable with cash and then walked out. And I know that the first, you've already started typing. It's the Walmart app on your phone, you moron. That is a fair assumption. I do not have the Walmart app on my phone. I've never had the Walmart app on my phone. And further, I did not have my phone with me on this trip. Here's how I know I didn't have my phone with me on this trip. I remember specifically talking to the employee in the back of the electronics section and trying to explain specifically which USB connector I was looking for. And I couldn't explain it well. And so I tried to pull my phone out to show the gentleman what I was looking for, and I didn't have my phone on me. And so I had to continue my game of terrible charades and torture this poor guy until he finally was like, well, look, here's what we've got. And then I was able to find what I needed. But the point being, my phone was not on my person. I don't think I even had my headphones on my person. I didn't have any electronic devices on me. So how does Walmart know what I purchased in cash?
AILP, brother. AILP.
What's the LP stand for?
Loss prevention.
Ah.
So most people think cameras are only in the discount line. But when you walk into Walmart, there's like these little bulbs.
You're so funny.
Chill out, kid. These Walmart has these little bulbs all over the place. You see them all over the place. So everywhere you go, you on camera, my nigga. And you know AI got that. They'll scan in and they'll see the thing that you have in your hand. Right now, the other part is a little fishy because how it register you or get back to you, like, you know, I know he said somebody's phone. There's a good chance, like it could, you know, catch him on with his phone, but it definitely the AI part, like now how it get to, again, how it say, oh, you're the person, this your email, his phone got to be somewhere for it to be like, you know, and these niggas ain't playing, bro. Like my homegirl Nika, she was in Baltimore, and when them first cameras came out around, they put them on every block. And they was like, if you stand right here, it can see in the middle of your house. Like, and the house was far, right? We go on the west end of Baltimore. And they have to tell the truth. But if you don't ask them the question, they won't say anything, right? Mm-hmm. So Anika was like, well, if it can go all the way into your house and zoom and see that, can it pick up sound too? That nigga said, yeah. And then he went to tell us why he actually couldn't say, and this is, you know, one of us supposedly, but he went to tell us why he didn't say it because he said he has to be honest. And so if you ask, he'll say it. But like when I say these motherfuckers ain't playing, dog, like you think they sending these white boys and girls and some of us to these Ivy League institutions and develop you what the fuck you think they're developing in them damn schools? Yeah. And we gonna celebrate the first black nuclear engineer. Yeah. Who the fuck you blowing up? Like, what are you talking about? But yeah, and then facial recognition too. So that's probably what's on the AI joint. So they don't even have to go with your phone. The facial recognition catch your ass on Facebook, and boom, that's where your email address is at. So yeah. Or phone number too. Crazy.
Yeah, I think it has to do with the surveillance stuff too.
Yeah. I saw a lot of people say facial recognition, but again, like this, some of his license plates, was it the receipt, and like this becomes the exercise, right? Obviously, we need to be organized and investigate this stuff. I think someone said there's YouTube videos showing how the Walmart security rooms work that we can look at. But the idea, right, is that any of these things, right, can be used because you're on permanent surveillance. Like they have you surveilled from the moment you walk in, from the parking lot. They got shot spotters in the parking lot. They got police in the parking lot. They got cameras in the parking lot. So like someone's saying, maybe it's your license plate. Maybe it's the receipt. Maybe it's if you come in again and you buy something separate and the facial recognition compares you to the last time. I don't know. But the point
they're
is,
able to tell it was him because of the facial recognition. So like they track people for months to years at times. Like they'll let people when you buy stuff, they're tagging everything together. So if you're using the app or you're paying with a card, the card has your name, the facial recognition has your face. So even if he's using just his facial recognition, not a card, they know that it's him because it's already tagged that name with that face. And they have done that for like multiple months over time to track and make sure they know it's the exact same person because they're getting multiple views of his face. And this is why I opted out of facial recognition like 2 years ago and why I don't go to Walmart. Just saying.
But again, now it's still on you though, because right now on the internet, like let's say for instance, if you take all of our names off the joint, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's already a picture of us up on the internet, and on Google and many other sites, you can search images and they'll pull up all your stuff, and they'll pull up your email, your social media accounts, and they might even pull up this video and they'll have your name on there. So it's like
it'll still be limited information for me. So it'll pull up these things that I'm doing on YouTube, but it actually won't show that many pictures of me. It won't show you, it'll show some of my social media, but it won't show all of them. It doesn't, like my face isn't recognized from like the outside cameras, like surveillance cameras, because I opted out, but not for like some internal thing. So it's still very limited. I also like blurred out my house and my license plate on Google. Like a lot of my stuff is very like secure because I don't be playing with niggas. But this is why I also encourage people.
The fact that you got to blur it out doesn't mean they got it though. The fact that you got to blur it out mean they already got it. Yeah.
But if somebody doesn't know my address, but they're tracking my car, right? Or they're checking my license plate, and so they're looking for that license plate, but their license plate is blurred, then they won't find the license plate on Google, but they will find like the car type or something. I think you can only limit so much, yes, but whatever I can limit, I'm going to limit because I don't trust people.
I think that's the approach the only approach we can take is make it as hard as possible, but we know on an individual level, like this is the fantasy people have about living off the grid. Like you can't. This is not how that works. At the end of the day, when they can track the supplies you buy to build that so-called off the grid thing as we're just seeing right now. But definitely got to make it harder. And people in the just different levels of surveillance. Right, depending. Some random people who see you at an event might want to pull up on you, and so making it harder for them even can be important. But y'all, we are in overtime. I don't know.
Hold on, Chitty Matcha got an important question. Chitty Matcha, you have to go to Google, like look up your address or look up the thing you're looking for, and there's a report option at the bottom, and it'll say, do you want to blur out the house, or do you want to blur out a license plate, or do you want to blur out a specific object? So I blurred out my house, the license plate, and the house next to me. And then it doesn't show it anymore. So now, like if someone has my exact address, even if they don't know I live here, they can put the address in and it won't show my house or my car. Because the cameras that they're using take pictures all the time. So now they've caught my car like in front of the house or in the driveway. And sometimes you can see the license plate. So I blurred that out. Because also the address that I use for things is not where I live. I use multiple different addresses and it's never the one I actually live at. So you really would need specific information about me, like my license plate number. And then you probably could maybe find me. But, it's going to be a little hassle.
Lord. Yeah. Wife.
Did y'all want to do one
make
more
it as difficult as you can, Geechee?
No, I know.
In this overtime, y'all want to do one more, or you want to start wrapping up? What y'all thinking?
Might as well do one more.
Cool. We'll try and make it 10:30 for y'all. Going into overtime today. Do we want to do a few things? We got the WNBA. We got another Mamdani.
Let's talk about the WNBA one.
Yeah, let's do WNBA.
Yeah.
Because that's gonna be new to me right now. Because I ain't.
Okay, cool.
I feel like they're really fumbling. Like the WNBA has become so popular, and to like do this to the players, they're gonna lose support.
Yeah, I was not a fan of this when I saw it too. Let's talk about it. So breaking, the WNBA has proposed a 7-figure base max salary as a part of their new CBA, but remove team housing per Annie Costable. The league has also proposed to make the season longer with an earlier start date that would interfere with the NCAA tournament and potentially other leagues like Project B. So athletes are labor. We need to understand they are workers. They're a special class of worker at the professional level, but they are workers. And so this is an assault on workers and their benefits, but it's disguised, right? Because it sounds like, okay, we're going to give everyone a higher salary. 7 figures seems good, right? But they're getting rid of housing, which we know in this country is a commodity that tends to be the most expensive part of people's cost of living, right? I think this is interesting because it's what we talk about sometimes within unions, where they create like class conflict within them, right? Because this is something that clearly benefits the higher tier popular WNBA athletes, right? People who are going to get paid max salaries might enjoy this more. But I don't think this helps rookies. I don't think this helps like college players transitioning, things of that nature. I think, Amber, you were getting at that with the NCAA and how they're going to make these changes kind of unpopular for other players.
Yeah, I will say I didn't even know that they had team housing until
Me too.
Angel Reese and the girl who's from Brazil, I can't remember her name right now. They had went live, and I could tell that the backgrounds were the same. So I was like, "Oh, y'all live in the same place." They put them all up in the same like apartment complex. I was like, "Actually, that makes sense because I'm sure they feel a lot safer because they're all together." But I think that's crazy to do this to them because it does only benefit folks who are already making a lot of money. Because the people who aren't are playing overseas too to supplement their income because they are making a lot of money. If you don't have a good NIL deal, you're not making extra income like an Angel Reese or like the South Carolina players or like a Flage. Like you're not making that. Or like your what's the girl that's dating the white girl for the Dallas Wings? Paige Buccaneers, all of them. Like you're not AZ Fudd. Like you're not an AZ Fudd, so you're not making that kind of money. And so you need to have something else going for you. And this is interfering with that. And I also think this just shows the same thing that they have kind of been saying for the last few months is that the WNBA be fumbling their best players, like the way the coach is treating Angel, the way some of the other players aren't getting the right types of like perks and stuff that they should be getting is really annoying because they're the ones who are bringing so much money to the league right now. I didn't even pay attention to the WNBA till like the last 3 years. And that was because of Angel Reese, Flage, AZ, KK Arnold. I like those, like they're good players. Like Aaliyah Edwards, like Aaliyah Boston, my bad. Aaliyah Boston. Like I went to a fucking Indiana game to see Aaliyah Boston play. Like I was locked in. But people are not gonna be locked in no more when you do stuff like this to them.
So shout out to my UK sisters. Wait, you're from Memphis, right? Do you know Crystal Riley? You ever heard of Crystal Riley? You're probably too young. But no, so
I'm too young. I didn't play sports, y'all.
No, but I'm saying also like so this was years ago when I was in Kentucky, Lexington. She played for the UK basketball team, but like pretty much all of the like the basketball players. So UK is where all the NBA players go, right? But the women's basketball be to me better, and like instead of going to see John Wall, I'm going to see them, Castine Evans and all of them. But so one, the game is more interesting, and the women have way more skill. There's no like boom, don't get like, but like they really nice skill, team ball, like, and so it's way better to watch. But then remember the dorm rooms or the team houses, whatever one you want to call it. That's all. It's a response to the patriarchal weird shit that's happened in terms of sports in general. But like, because they don't got no bread, like they getting paid, like they got to play overseas to kind of match that, and then like
Also, shout out to Tommy who got me them tickets to the Indiana game.
But no, I Zinzi says something that I know it's probably common now, but I wonder if there's a pushback against like Caitlyn is the reason why all attention is coming, which I can hear that, but I do think
but I don't agree.
Me either, because I think there was like I remember when there was like an upswing. There was a lot of black women athletes and some NBA black men, but I think the black women organized the NBA black men, and that's why the black men got involved. And you'll see LeBron trying to help out. So Caitlyn is reaping the benefits of what those black women athletes were doing to put their issues on the line in terms of like you paying these niggas, because it was always that even as Sue Bird, where that Sue Bird comparison.
She got
LeBron
makes a podcast with her partner now.
Who, Sue?
Yeah, where she was talking about how she came out as gay and shit. I said, "Oh, this is interesting."
But there's a weird ass thing where they's comparing Sue Bird to LeBron James. But the reality is there was the black women like Cheryl Swoops and Lisa Leslie and all of them that was already kind of like on that shit, but then they use Sue Bird as an example. So Caitlyn is taking a moment, and that's why you'll see Asia and Reese and Flage. Shout out to Camouflage.
AZ, KK, Ice.
Yeah. But yeah. Go ahead.
No, I think to look at the forces conjuncturally, as Amber was talking about last week, that bring the WNBA into popularity. Like, there's a lot of things. Ultimately, capitalism has to expand, right? The market has to get bigger. The NBA can only grow so big. And outside of patriarchy, right, that was the main thing limiting the WNBA's growth. Just like with Jim Crow, white companies saw that racism was limiting some of their ability to expand economically. So I just want to, point that out. As you say, Geechee, like there's a lot of talent there, but we're seeing some things with more capital being put into women's sports. The players get better, obviously, right? But then there's other markets popping up, like sports betting. So need more people with sports betting. What do? You create more games, right? So there's a whole bunch of industries that come into play. I do think, as you're saying, there are more personalities as the NIL deals, so people can kind of control their own brand in the streaming era and create fan bases earlier on that follow them around. But ultimately, like, I do think there are some elements to the Caitlin Clark point that they have to pick a face of the league, right? And in some ways, that makes sense. Just like I think the NBA would love to have a white man be the face of the league, or anybody other than like John Henry story of LeBron James. So as soon as they can get a Luka, it's Luka, even though that boy ain't playing the other end of the floor, and they act like he's as good as LeBron. And if it can't be Luka, it's gonna be Nikola Jokic, who's again a freak talent. But it's perfect. He's a white boy. He's from Slovenia. They can market him a certain way. And so I think that Caitlin Clark, if they could have a white girl be the face of the league, they're going to pick a white girl to be the face of the league. Just like they want a white boy to be the face of the NBA. And if it's not Jokic, it'll be Cooper Flagg. If it's not Cooper Flagg, they're going to find some other white boy. So that's how
I also agree. There was a comment about this one. They getting aggressive pushing sports betting ads. It's so annoying to me. Honestly,
MyBookie.com.
They make so much I have friends who make so much money off parlays. I would consider it, but because they're pushing it so aggressively, I won't, because I feel like that's where the setup comes in. But I know people who making shit $500,000 off them jumps. But you have to also be really into sports to know like how to bet and stuff. Yeah. I'm not that into it to know.
You also got to tell people when you down, because my cousins again, they tell you when they up. Well, then I see on their likes in the algorithm, well, you $2,000 down in a day, so they don't even.
But that's also one of my friends was like, you just don't bet money you don't have. Like, he don't go crazy. He only betting stuff that he for sure can lose or can have. And the times that he's won a lot of money, he did not bet as much. Like, he just got like triple stuff or something, and it didn't cost him anything. And I was like, see, that makes more sense, because I'm just not gonna do it. I'm not gonna risk it. But they do be making bukus of money out of it, and this actually makes more sense. They want to add more games so then they can make more revenue off the sports betting shit. Because I know one of the betting companies sponsors one of the teams. I think it might be the Dallas Wings. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But also, I would say TikTok really exploded the popularity. It was not that Caitlin Clark bitch. I actually had never really heard of her, and then I was on TikTok, and KK Arnold and AZ Foot and Paige was making TikToks, and I was like, these are so funny. And that's when I recognized like the UConn team, and I saw it was right around the March Madness shit, and they had gotten into Sweet 16. So the different teams, LSU, South Carolina, all of them were making TikToks, and that's how I started seeing them and seeing like the little fun team rivalry stuff they were doing. And that's why I was paying attention to it. It was not because of Caitlin Clark. It's because they were using TikTok as you should, like as posting funny videos, and they started getting a lot of NIL deals. They started getting a lot of ad stuff. And now, like the Raising Cane's deal that they have is like the deal that they have for like the Super Bowl. You know, when like they win the Super Bowl and they're like, "I'm going to Disney World."
Yeah.
Raising Cane's is like the when you win the championship, it's like everybody goes to Raising Cane's and like gives out free chicken, and that's like the big thing. Like I'm with Raising Cane's, like I love Raising Cane's, and they like give out free food and stuff. And I think that's so funny that's become like the moniker for women's basketball because that's what they do for the Super Bowl with Disneyland. So I just think stuff like that is interesting. And I only saw this from being on TikTok. I never saw it anywhere else. I never had heard the Caitlin Clark girl. And I only saw her one time on the news at a bar when they were talking about her hitting some like score point thing, like the most points or something. There was like a little clock. They were tracking when she would reach it or something. And I was like, this is weird.
Yeah. You know, you said something about NIL. Like me and my mother was having this conversation because my nephew is playing for a college team down there in Florida. And his coach got a head coaching job somewhere else, and the offensive coordinator went somewhere else, has a head coaching job, and they're trying to recruit him to take him over there with him. And then there's another school that's trying to offer him like 3.4 million for the NIL. And my mama said something, and I got mad. I didn't get mad, but I kind of responded. She was like, I told him he ain't gonna know what to do with that money. He don't need that type of money. I was like, I said, first of all, but then I did my response in terms of and because I played college football too, and I remember when we didn't have NIL and all that other shit. But anyway, I can only imagine the type of rhetoric and shit that Black women in sports are probably hearing as it relate to why they not getting the money, and if they do get the money, and then and like not only from like the media and the public, but even us in our communities and families, like, oh, she ain't gonna shit. Like, she don't need that money. Like, you know. So
I was going to even add the sexist element to it about like they're not as good. Like, well, why are they getting as much as the men? They're not as good. That's the laziest argument to the point, because Amber, I'm glad you traced, and all of us, we tried to trace the actual reasons the WNBA is exploding in popularity, and not some of the kind of superstitious reasons that'll exist or the made up reasons, or one of those, like it's PC or whatever. Yeah, capitalism doesn't care about that. It's just the level of the competition, the intensity. And the thing that always blew my mind would be people who claim they were fans of basketball, and it's like, I only need the NBA because of the skill. Well, the NCAA March Madness is less skilled than the NBA, and that is one of the biggest basketball tournaments in the world, right? And even before that, if you've never been to a rec game where you've seen 7 and 8 year olds and parents ready to kill each other in the stands for their baby playing basketball, then you don't understand that it's about the love of the game, and it's about the level of the competition in the game. So if everybody is playing at their best and competitive, that is why people watch it relative to the skill level. So I know there's already points that we can talk about in terms of WNBA player skill, because they are also improving. Like, they are significantly getting better at the game of basketball, like everyone is. But I just want to address the basic, like, sexist arguments people try to throw out about the WNBA and popularity.
Yeah. It's actually, I would say, from watching more WNBA games, mind you, I don't have cable, so I'm only watching like what I can that's available online and stuff. It still is way, 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 way better. I was like, this is way more fun to watch. And I do agree. I feel like a lot of times, the times I've watched men's basketball, like Grizzlies games, they be dramatic as hell. And they don't be doing it in women's basketball. They really just be playing. Except for the white girl, this white Trumper girl on the Indiana team, on the Fever. She is really dramatic. And Tommy was explaining to me that she was the white Trumper girl, and I had to look her up after that, and I was like, oh yeah, that's why she acting like that. She was being real dramatic whenever the black players came near her, just falling out and shit. And I was like, girl, let's be for real.
I think that's why I actually liked watching women's college basketball in person, because like, and then a part of knowing the women, and then kind of like interesting, like, so when I was in Kentucky, when we played against South Carolina, when they played against South Carolina and Don Staley was coaching, my cousin was assistant coach for Don Staley, and so to know the people and their personalities and what they got going on, that's way better in my opinion from the WNBA and maybe the NBA, because by the time you get there, it's like now you know, like when Skylar Diggins she signed a deal with Jay-Z and she became Rock Nation and got the Mercedes-Benz, and like that's a different now you're like being pushed into celebrityism, which will eventually be more explicitly a political tool, right? Because you got to sign deals with corporations and all those other things. So maybe when I like women's basketball,
I think your mama's tripping, and he should take the deal. He should go to the school.
She just said that in passing to me. Like she ain't got no say over that.
He should go. And then y'all just need to tell him not to spend all the money at one time. I think Angel Reese and Fly J.
Or if he want to spend all the money at one time, it's the money. Like whatever you want.
I mean, that's true, but I think if he wants to play professional, you should try to save a little bit so that you have enough to transition. Because Fly J and Angel Reese talked about this a little bit about how like they was buying what they wanted, like they was buying designer shit and whatever, but they was also saving money so that when they switched to play professional, because she's making a lot less money, she still had her NIL deal money to like carry her through, because she had to move to Chicago, had to pay for all this shit. Like that was a lot of expenses she had, and if she didn't have that money, she would have been stressed out. And they're still playing, like she played in Unrivaled. I don't think she's playing this year, but she still played in a separate league for the summer and stuff, so she can make more money because they're not getting paid a lot.
Yeah. Yep.
I agree with Brittany. You should not spend all the money at one time. As a nigga who got to pay taxes right now, you shouldn't spend it all at one time.
Hey, thanks.
I know my taxes today. It was so sad.
Arts of Words is keeping us on schedule with our personal lives off camera. So I appreciate the time check.
I appreciate you.
We can definitely close out. Appreciate the overtime, by the way. A few more shows left this year.
You're welcome. I know y'all missed me because I had been gone a few times.
We did.
So I was trying to, help y'all
must
out.
be complete. And we should talk about who we're gonna have with. We got how many Fridays left? Really, only like 3 left.
Amber, I can't find them. I can't find them.
You can't find what?
You said y'all, and I'm looking for the people that you said miss you.
It's always a fucking hater.
Damn,
They only came to this show. It's 100 people on here that for sure just came for me.
Yeah,
I can say that right now. So they be inboxing me on Instagram telling me how much they enjoyed the show. I can send you the screenshot.
It's true.
We split the other 40. It's 20 for me, 20 for Geechee, and the rest.
Don't lie. Don't lie. I only got 3. I got 3%. Niggas ain't want to see me. I understand.
I think I only missed like one Friday in December when I go visit my little sister because I take an international flight. But other than that, I'll be here.
Well, the undefeated chat is always here. So.
Well, I will say one of these weeks I'm going to take a mental health out of the country break, so I ain't going to be here. I'll send somebody for y'all.
I'm taking a mental health out of the country break too, but I'm going to still have my computer. So I can do
all right, I'm going to invite the chat. It'll be us and me in the chat. We're going to do a call-in episode.
I'm going to tag Zinzi in, because Zinzi, Amber, and Lorik will probably be a mix. So I'm going to tag
That will be a fun mix. we should figure out. We have 3 Fridays left. I definitely have, I think, a guest in mind, but we also should figure out how we want to use the last 3. Maybe we do a call-in day, something like that. But I appreciate y'all. What you got going on this week, Amber, or this weekend?
I'm just working. I'm gonna go to Omaha, Nebraska, and I'm gonna try not to cry while I'm there.
Word.
Until I can come back, because I don't want to be there. It's really cold.
Oh my!
Home, Malcolm's home.
Just going for a quick event, and I'm coming right back.
Bet. If you see the Malcolm X memorial, or you get some time, they got a museum out there, and they bought his childhood home and things. It's really cool.
I'm gonna actually heavily consider that because I do care about that. But also, it is 9 degrees there.
Yeah, or you can stay inside and be warm. That is also, I support both of those.
I'm gonna heavily consider it though, because I do fuck with Malcolm, but I ain't gonna hold y'all. I just packed some thermals.
The director is she's younger. She's taking it on, handling the foundation.
Zinzi, we have 3 Fridays left for the show. That's what he was talking about.
3 Fridays left this year. Yes. We are almost out of Fridays.
I'll be here next Friday. I won't be here on the 19th, and I'll be here on the 26th. So y'all got 2 more Fridays with me.
2 more Fridays with Amber. We're going to figure it out. Amber's working. Miami's Art Basel. I am dodging traffic like crazy.
Oh yeah, I know people who are there right now for it. You going?
I mean, I'm gonna work security at one event for a Black Men Build, but other than that, there's an exhibit on Black washerwomen, like my grandma. So I actually want to go see that. Linking up with Aaliyah behind the scenes, Black Liberation Media. You know, I mix with our crew. So I'm gonna do that. If y'all are in Miami, Soulful Sunday or Soul Basel is going on. If you can deal with the traffic, I can't because I deal with it every day. But check it out. And Miami Overtown, like we were talking about earlier, Dunn's Overtown Farm. There's a Soul Basel event on Sunday. So come through, support local art, business, all those things. That's me, Geechee. What you got?
Oh, so later on in a second, I have to the tenant meeting on today with them tenants, and then tomorrow I actually am being I got nominated to be on a board position in the neighborhood. So I think the running is supposed to be tomorrow, and so maybe I might be elected, maybe I not, but you know,
that should be lit. People keep telling me that I should be on a board, but they be presenting it in a very capitalist way, and I don't like it. So, period. Geechee. They was like, you know, Amber, you in a different status now. You need to be on a board. I was like, I turned down like 2 boards. I'm good, bro. I'm not in any different status.
No.
I just think I'm important now, and I've always been important.
I mean, it's more of a it's like a community thing. So it's like morale and support officer, and so it would be more like advocacy and resources. So it's already the shit I'm doing. It's just that y'all, you know the strategy. You know the strategy. Use some of them state resources instead of.
Like, share, subscribe. Everybody, like, share, subscribe. Please go to the Patreon, Black Liberation Media on Patreon. That is how we are funded because YouTube is hate. So, you know, that's all we got.
Big time.
Appreciate y'all. As Jared says, and ancestor Chairman Fred Hampton used to say, peace if you're willing to fight for it. And we'll catch you next time.
Remix. 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 Remix.